Today's episode started with some hardware trouble on Stephen and Jace's microphones. However, it was fixed after a few minutes, so if you hang on a little bit, it gets much better.
Welcome to the Bayesian Conspiracy. I'm Eneasz Brodsky.
I'm Steven Zuber.
I'm Jay Sticky.
And today we are just having a live episode with all of y'all. I look like I'm wearing those wigs, the Revolutionary era. But brown, black instead of white. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'm trying to go for the, I don't even know what to do with my hair. It hasn't been cut in so long. I would like to have it long, though. Maybe get it styled in some way, but I don't know. Okay, can you just walk in and ask someone in a Great Clips to do your hair, or do you got to pay more money for decent hair?
What is it? Cosmetology students? I guess specifically haircutting. I don't know if there's a fancy name for that, but they will generally give you really cool haircuts at discounted prices to get pieces for their portfolio.
Okay.
But then you're also trusting yourself to someone who's a student.
Oh,
So
well,
there's the trade-off.
that's all right. Students need to learn things too.
I fixed it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I shouldn't have turned that thing off earlier, but
Noise suppression sounds like a good idea, but apparently it
suppresses all microphones other than the first one on the list. Cool. Thank you for letting us know that Jason Steven got super quiet right there.
Yeah, I gotta lean closer to the mic.
Yes.
No, it was. I think we had noise suppression on, and it made both of us quiet.
Oh,
Yeah. It muted your mics, I guess, and you were just coming through on mine.
Steven needs to lean in. What?
Yeah, well, here, hold on. I can jack up Steven's
Yeah.
volume.
Steven's mic is practically up his nose.
We used to do big work meetings at my last job where there'd be 100 people in the room, and so in order if you wanted to be heard, you'd pass around a microphone. With the general rule of thumb is you wanted it close enough to lick like an ice cream cone,
Yeah.
and we'd just shout more ice cream if we couldn't hear a person.
Oh, cool.
So I'm always close enough to lick the microphone.
Yes. It's not a bad rule of thumb to have. It also helps the microphones, the closer you are, the more bass they pick up. So if you want to have sounding like you have a deep, sexy voice, you get in real close. I'm assuming that's what they did for Amazing Man. Just deep throat that microphone. Aw, thanks, great Nick. What's on them? I mean, what's on them?
I think on the mic, or I mean, not the mic, the
Oh, yeah. The mug says True Buckaroo on it. Okay, so yes, we are here mainly just to chat with you guys, because last time we had one of these live episodes, it was a lot of fun. We don't necessarily have a topic lined up, but we do have a Charlie in reserve in case not a lot of people want to talk to us.
Johnny's offering to talk about the Amazing Man recording.
Sure. Does anyone have questions about the Amazing Man recording? Okay. I want to know.
It's called The Amazing Man 2. Do I need to read The Amazing Man 1 first?
You do not. They are. I mean, no, you don't. It was trying to do something totally different. The only thing you find out is
They're both really good, though.
it's fun. Yeah,
Both of them?
of course.
I didn't hear about The Amazing Man. I'm still really quiet.
Huh? Oh, because you were on the red mic.
Oh, whatever you cranked
so
up.
I was cranking myself up.
Oh,
Is Steven better now?
how's that?
Okay,
There we go.
excellent.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no, I was kind of peeved about the whole Sad Puppies thing when they first did their try to take over the Hugo Awards, and I just jotted off Amazing Man 1 in the course of a couple hours because that is how I felt about them, that they were these people that were like, "Oh, I'm completely powerless and nobody likes me," and then they did it again the next year, but this time they nominated Chuck Tingle's work Space Raptor Butt Invasion, and I read it and I was like, this is actually really good. I mean, it's ridiculous gay erotica, but it has this whole gay discovering yourself story to it. And so I read some more of his works, and every single one of his works are basically identical. Some ridiculous thing is really hot, and some dude finds out that he's gay and falls in love with it, and they have amazing sex, and it's 8,000 words or less.
And this is a dinosaur one for.
That one was the dinosaur one that they nominated. And so just to have fun with it, I did the same thing with Amazing Man 2, but did it in the style of Chuck Tingle, and I ended up having way too much fun writing it. And
I don't think there's such thing's too much fun. That sounds great.
yeah. And then Johnny and Gray and Hobo Demon had way too much fun recording it.
Love it.
Yeah. Amazing Man was made up, but I also made him up for, the first one that was not an erotica. No one needs to read any of them, really. but they were a lot of fun. Anyways, if anyone did have a question about the recording, it sounds like Johnny is willing to answer them. Did either of you guys have questions about the recordings?
Having not heard it yet, no.
Oh yeah, of course not. Yeah.
Well, now I'm curious if it's gay erotica, was there pleasure noises that someone had to do into the microphone?
Yeah. You know what? Let's unmute Johnny.
All right.
Find him over there. Give him the. Johnny, can you speak?
As of now, yes. Hi.
Fantastic.
It's me, Johnny. You may know me from such works as the Uncultured Swine podcast, getting the plug in early so as to not distract from later moments. But yes, I very much enjoyed recording this wonderful work that you made. And to answer that question, yes, I did have to do that. Also, Doug did. My work was fine. His work, frankly, incredible. I don't know how he made such good dinosaur sex sounds, but they were really something to behold. I do take some credit for shamelessly stealing all of Jurassic Park dinosaur sounds with which to augment his sounds, but that came in the editing process. The voice was all him.
The editing was quite amazing too.
Well, I guess
thank
I'm
you.
looking on the drive home. That sounds hilarious.
Gray is also to be blamed for the editing. He did most of the stuff of making our words not be interrupted by all the ums, as mine are currently being, because this is live. However, I was the one to inject dinosaur sounds and things, and also re-record all my lines, because I tell you what, Inyash, in writing, those lines may be easy to get out. In speaking, they are not easy to get out, as I mentioned in the recording.
Well, there's nothing easy to get out when it comes to a tingler.
As you're writing it, you're just giggling to yourself the whole time, or like, well, actually, I remember that was when like we were just like email buddies. I still lived in New Jersey, and Idiosh sent me like the like beta read. It was like, should I do this? Is this okay? It's like, you got to do it.
Yep.
For an additional
like
sub-plug, I remember you telling us that story when you were.
No, it's perfect. I have no comments.
I remember you telling us exactly that story when we were recording the Eye of Argon thing, which is why we actually.
Oh yeah.
You told us we should do this when we were recording Eye of Argon.
Jace is responsible for many bad decisions.
Yes, and this is not any of them.
The great Nick asks, what was your favorite part or line doing the recording?
So my favorite part, like the thing that was like funniest, I mean, I hate to say it's something that I said, but it's probably the thing that I included as an after the credits stinger. It didn't happen after the credits, but just at one point, Doug was struggling with a line. He says, like, I'm kind of having a hard time saying this. And I said, yeah, these lines are really hard to get out with a straight face. It would be easier if I had a gay one, but I'm making do with what I have. And that was probably the most amusing thing. We all cracked up when I said that. However, best line that you wrote was definitely the first time, and you use it 2 times, that you say, stuffing all the dinosaur Italy could take down its throat. The first time you say that, it's in a non-sexual connotation, but it's a ridiculously sexual line, and Gray just died when he tried to say that seriously, because his thing was for, like, the way he was doing this was he was doing it very flat affect. Like he was, I believe the way he described it was he was trying to do the narration as if he was a 1940s noir detective.
Nice.
And he really struggled to say that one, and died for approximately 30 seconds. But then he was fine.
Cool. Yeah, that's a thing you don't ever really think about while writing, is how hard would these lines be to say out loud? Because, I don't know, it was never really a consideration for anyone who's not a screenwriter. And nowadays, almost everything goes in audio, so maybe people will start thinking about that more. But I kind of like the fact that they don't, because you can do a lot of things in text if you don't have to worry how it's going to sound.
I was just watching Shark. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to agree and say that if we were proper voice actors, I imagine we would not have a hard time. It was just a hard thing to do because these were lines where you're saying very sexual or overblown things, which are hard to do if you were not actually in that situation, or indeed an actor, which voice actors are.
Yeah. There was an official Chuck Tingle podcast for a while, and I tried listening to a couple episodes, and I just didn't like it because the people they got to read it did it in one take and were laughing all the way through. And that's great and all, I guess, if you're doing it with friends.
Part of it, but if you're trying to listen to it, yeah.
I really appreciated that you guys just did it, straight as much as you could,
Yes, as straight as that work can possibly be made.
Right.
Reuse joke.
Yeah. I have not listened to My Dad Wrote a Porno, but I've had it recommended to me a few times now. I should.
The Chuck Tingle podcast, by the way, is I believe it's pounded in the butt by my own podcast, because that is the naming convention.
Yes.
What were you gonna say, Steven?
Oh, an anecdote about hard to read phrases. So I was watching Shark Tank this morning, and some guys brought on some whatever truffle spice, and it's expensive.
Spice.
And then Damon, one of the sharks, was putting it in his pocket because it was expensive and he was being funny.
Oh, okay.
And Rachel had said he tried when he pocketed it, and that's a hard. He pocketed it is hard to say.
Yeah.
And Stephen Fry did the audiobook for the Harry Potter books.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he said something derisive about the quality of the books or something to J.K. Rowling. And then at another time said that it was really hard to say Harry pocketed it. And I think he said that I think that line was first in the third book, and she made sure to include it in every subsequent book.
Nice.
Yeah, that's delightful.
Pettiness going on there.
Yeah.
It's my kind of petty.
Yep. But yes, that was awesome. And did you have anything you wanted to ask us, as long as you're on here?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't have any clever questions. I didn't prepare any, so I will leave that to more adequately prepared question askers.
Cool. If anyone has any questions they would like to ask, you can type them in the chat, or you can, say, hey, I'd like to talk with you guys, and, let us know. We will unmute you.
I will remute myself until such time as the world needs me again.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Great, Nick. Yeah, recording's about anything. You can ask any of us whatever. It's kind of an AMA sort of situation now.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be questions either. You can just
get on and say how much you hate my contribution to the show.
Sure. Or I don't know, plug something.
Great Nick wants to know why the heck we haven't had more Marvel plugs yet.
Falcon and Winter Soldier is going great. Episode 5 of 6 came out on Friday, and it was fantastic. It's going in a really fun direction.
Great Nick didn't actually say that, but someone said that earlier. So
yeah.
Or maybe it was Great Nick. I don't know. Wes says, I have family stuff today, so I can't listen in. All right, Wes, no problem. Have a good family thing.
Take care,
Wes.
dude. We missed you on the
Wes.
the Mind Killer. I missed listening to you anyway. But they made sure to just try and do as many bad lawyer things as possible while you weren't around to do it correctly.
Yeah. I really want to know what Wes has to say about that, and I guess I'll find out next week.
I guess we all will.
Stay tuned.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get Great Nick on here then.
Right. 4 people. Oh, no, down.
What?
One more.
The Great Nick. There it is.
Yeah.
So Johnny is saying the one thing you cannot do is say that you are giving legal advice, which we did, but we literally said this is legal advice. But if we're not lawyers, then it doesn't count, right? Especially if you can tell it's a joke.
I'm pretty sure I can't imagine that there's a law against giving bad medical advice. So I mean, I can't imagine that there'd be another law about giving people bad legal advice.
It was a bit, Your Honor, according to Matt.
I feel like that's a get out of jail free card, right? It's worked for higher profile people.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to argue it right now for what's her name.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Oh my God, very good. All the better for speaking with all of you. There was that court case a while ago about I think the Trump voting fraud, and somebody said no reasonable person would take what I said about the Trump voter fraud as legitimate. I wonder if that's a legitimate complaint as well.
And Alex Jones was pretending his internet celebrity was a persona. So when he was advocating that his gigantic fan base harassed the parents of the kids who were killed in those school shootings. Oh, that wasn't me. That was the character I play on the radio show.
Yeah. the lady is extra interesting because she isn't even pretending that it was a character. She's just saying like,
I'm stupid.
yeah, no reasonable person could possibly think I'm serious. But yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about that. We'll have to ask Wes, I guess, next week since he's gone now. If you say, I'm giving legal advice, but you're not a lawyer, is that actionable, illegal? I don't think it's illegal.
I feel like it couldn't possibly be, but
anytime you tell someone you should sue that guy, you're giving them legal advice, right? Or is there a more rigorous definition of legal advice?
yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Nick, you have an English accent. Are you over on the other side of the world?
I am in the UK. God save the Queen, etc.
What time is it over there right now?
It's 7:20 in the evening.
Okay, that's not too
it's
bad.
Not that late. I was very pleased when I saw what time this live show is going to be because I could actually call in.
Perfect. Do you have feelings about the passing of Prince? Was it Philip? Yeah, is that like a thing that is that a thing that like in general UK people are distraught about, or is it more like over here there's some celebrities that many people just don't care about?
So when I heard about it, I'd like literally sat down for my lunch on my lunch break in the staff room, and I said, "Oh my God, Prince Philip is dead." And then about 2 minutes later, like I didn't care. I kind of already didn't care. It was more like a case of like, oh, this is like a big thing that like people are going to be hearing about. And the TV coverage was absolutely wall to wall. We had BBC One and BBC Two, which are both channels everybody can get, and they were both showing exactly the same footage of like the live news from the hospital or the royal family or whatever. And it actually turned out to be the most complained about program in British history. The coverage of because it like most of the complaints were just it was too much. There was too much coverage. You couldn't get away from it. Some of the complaints were saying that the BBC news readers weren't somber enough, and then some of the complaints were people saying it was too easy to complain.
Oh, okay.
This is a great story.
Yeah,
there's the kind of a parallel thing over here when a former president dies. It's like wall-to-wall coverage. They'll do like a funeral procession across some dozens or hundreds of miles of highway, and there's always like aerial shots. I remember when Reagan died, it was just on TV for days.
Okay.
Like by the time they die, like
they've been out of the spotlight
yeah,
for so
like
many years.
you're like, wait, who? That was a president?
I think Reagan was an exception though, because he's almost like a saint for the Republicans.
And he was like otherwise a celebrity, I guess. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I remember hearing when I think every president that's died in my lifetime, every former president rather, I think I've heard about it when it happened. There was John Oliver was on Seth Meyers' show sometime this week. If you Google it on YouTube, and Seth asks John, who's a dual citizen between U.S. and UK, like how did you feel about it? And his answer was too funny to summarize. Plus, without a British accent, it would just sound like I couldn't do it justice.
Oh, blimey, Gov! I'll give it a go.
I want to.
No idea what he actually said.
What your thoughts are on tea?
Sorry, say that again.
I'm trying to think of other like stereotypes of British people to ask questions about. It's like, how do you feel about tea? How do you take your tea?
Correctly. So you have to boil a kettle. None of this microwave bullshit. Boil a kettle. Pour it as soon as it's boiling onto a tea bag. Leave it for about 3 minutes. Take the tea bag out because the tea bag and the milk can never meet. They can never meet. And then you put in however much milk you like, and then sugar to taste. That's a classic cup of tea. Go ahead.
Why 3 minutes? Because I know some people who just leave the tea bag in until they're done with the tea.
All the tannins will come out.
I think those people didn't really like grow up with tea because after sort of 3 minutes and 1 second, the flavour starts to get quite bitter. To the point of just like if you leave a cup of tea brewing for 5 minutes and you come back to it, it's just worth throwing it away because the taste is not very enjoyable. It's very bitter.
Huh. Okay.
I've just in the last couple of years started making my tea properly. Ordinarily, I'd leave it in the whole time to maximize the amount of caffeine I could get out of it. And now
I think it doesn't work that way.
I figured like if I get 90% of the
Hmm.
caffeine out in the first 3 minutes, I might get the other 10% if I leave it in for the rest of the time I'm drinking it. But
So you're just maximizing for caffeine content, not
could just-
not taste.
then I realized that like I'm talking the difference between like 62 and 65 milligrams of caffeine, and it's not really worth the subtraction in taste I'm getting. So
Oh my God. Matt leaves the tea
Sorry.
bag in cold water and sips it all afternoon, microwaving it occasionally.
I do the
I've
same
gotta go
thing
and throw up,
like
sorry.
during the work week, Matt. Don't sweat it. I'll make it, then I'll bring it upstairs, get distracted, and then by the time I remember I've got tea, it's already cold, and I've forgotten to take the bag out. So
Wizard says milk and tea is treason. I remember reading somewhere someone commented, "Look, if you want sugar and milk, just drink sugar and milk, and don't ruin good tea in the process."
Really depends on the tea.
Yes.
yeah,
People
I
that
buy
put
the flavored
milk in
stuff.
green tea. What the hell?
I do like a chai or like peach, apricot, something that's not too sweet. Usually black tea, something with flavor. If I was taking my plain tea with, I have had like proper British style tea once. I
Oh
think
yeah,
on a plane.
Matt's talking about the whiskey tea.
Ooh,
I know Autumn had some of that. That was actually like imported from the UK. It was black tea flavored with whiskey or bourbon. It was really good.
oh, so it's like their version of like a shoot. What do you call those? A Four Loko, the caffeinated alcoholic beverage.
No, I think it was just like it was tea that was flavored like whiskey. It didn't have any alcohol content.
Oh, see, I thought from this it said whiskey flavored tea. Oh no,
Tea that
black
was
tea flavored whiskey.
like whiskey.
Oh, look at this. Black tea flavored whiskey.
Yeah, it's the good stuff. Also, pocha.
Also, I'm the one on control of all the reacts. I'm trying to hit all the things.
It's really enjoyable just watching Steven frantically emoji everything.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Stephen. I could not do that. I would be too distracted.
I would say a good 20% of all my work communication is in emojis and GIFs.
I think I am much less good at multitasking than almost everybody else. I've noticed this especially now that I'm
I think everybody's bad at it, like scientifically.
I must be extra bad at it though, because I notice sometimes because I play World of Warcraft now, and as a guild leader, I sometimes have to pay attention to multiple things. And like my other officers and even some players, they're like chatting here and running around there and killing things, and also an officer chat discussing, like who is doing what and who we got to kick out. And I'm like, I can barely focus on one chat at a time. How is it that you're running around murdering things at the same time? Like, I would be useless.
Yeah, I don't have it in me.
Chatting and murdering at the same time.
It's like they're psychopaths. Oh, COVID times are so close to being over.
Yeah, I got my shot.
Cool.
Finally.
Yeah, I got mine on Wednesday. I had to drive. Actually, it was decent. It was only like an hour there and back, or an hour each way. But I actually drove on Wednesday, the day after the Scout Mindset came out. Listened to that the whole drive, and Matt wanted to talk about that. So I'm kind of curious what his thoughts are.
Matt, are you willing to unmute so we can talk about Scout Mindset for a little bit?
Sure. I don't necessarily have a well-developed thesis here. I was surprised at how many little tidbits of it, though, I didn't just already know. Don't ask me to say what I'm talking about because I don't remember now.
I was actually... What is the what mindset? What are we?
Oh, so the Scout Mindset. Do you know Julia Galef?
Yeah.
Julia Galef came out with a new book that just came out last week, right?
Tuesday,
yeah.
Oh, I did not hear about this.
Yes.
Called The Scout Mindset.
Cool. I'll have to pick up a copy.
My favorite part... I think my favorite part is when she uses people who have wronged her as examples of irrationality repeatedly.
In a self-aware way, though.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah.
For the most part.
I'm only, I don't know, over 50% through, but like I actually saw might have been an email from like her Substack or something. Something hit my inbox where it was like, Julia Galef brings rationality to the mainstream or something with this book, and I'm like, that's kind of generous because this book I can't imagine being read by anybody who's not already in the sphere, which is a drag because it's well written and fun, but like
I think she crosses over a bit to the like at least like atheist skeptic crowd too.
Yeah. I mean,
which isn't making it that much broader. There's a lot of overlap already.
She was at the James Randi conferences I went to like 10 years ago, but
Ooh, quick question for the group. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I don't feel like the book is hitting like I don't know how you could do it, but I don't feel like it's written for people who aren't us.
So who has brought rationality to the masses, if anyone has any sort of things?
Maybe
Harry Potter, the Method of Rationality.
That would be my guess too, yeah. But
I mean, Julia
it's a
Galef's
Harry Potter fan fiction. Not that many of the masses read it, right?
Julia Galef did a good job with that though too. I mean, so like rationally speaking, is more just like one of those fun interview shows with random people, right? If you want Neil deGrasse Tyson on to talk about random space shit with, or I'm trying to think of just like some of the earlier episodes. Zachary Wienersmith was on a couple times of SMBC Comics.
Oh yeah, Zachary Wienersmith probably.
Yeah,
go ahead.
There's people like Sam Harris who have clearly read the sequences but never refer to what they're talking about as rationality and never refer to Witkowski or so forth.
Yeah.
Just like,
Wienersmith is totally a rationalist. You can tell he's read a lot of it, and he even seems to stay like somewhat current.
He even made a joke about like one of the, I don't know, in the last 2 months there's one on Bayesian induction or Bayesian reasoning, and he's like, "Is this where I finally like start getting hate mail?" I think I can't remember if he mentioned less wrong or if the person on the Reddit thread mentioned less wrong, but he's definitely in the loop on it.
Yeah, I don't know if the Amazing Randy or Carl Sagan were rationalists in like the sense of this community, though, but like definitely.
Well, Sagan died before the community ever was founded.
Yeah.
I think they're great gateway drugs for it, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, Randy is he hosted the same kind of conferences that Julia Gallup went to, who is another stepping stone into all this stuff. So, and of course, Sagan founded half the skeptic organizations in the country. So.
Mm-hmm. Zila makes an interesting point that Wait But Why also definitely sounds like a rationalist, but conspicuously avoids ever mentioning that. I think
that's common.
Yeah, that is common.
It's funny, like the thing you can't name.
Yeah. Is it because of I don't know. You got yes?
Well, this is something that we talk about in the guild in context of the Guild of Servants renaming pending. Is the idea that we don't necessarily want the branding to be tied to the quote unquote rationality community, even though that's obviously where we're all coming from and where we're all based in. And so I think people like Wait But Why, for example, they just want their own brand, and they don't want a pointer pointing away from their brand. They want you to come to their website and stay on their website, right? I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. No, that works.
That didn't even occur to me for some reason.
I'm not very smart about branding.
Well, my brain just went right to there's like something negative about the rationality brand. Like I know that I saw before I even like joined the rationalist community, in the atheist skeptic community, like people in forums saying like, "Oh man, that Yukowski guy is like just nuts."
Like, well, from the outside, he looks weird, a little nuts.
Those creepy AI people and the transhumanists, yeah, they're just
right. Then the AI will never be an issue we have to worry about.
Unplug it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot it with a shotgun.
Right. Yeah,
so you're
took that back.
So you're 20% in, Matt?
Yeah, 20% in. And then I was like, man, there's so many people I know who I should buy this for. And then I was immediately like, oh no, they would take that as a horrible insult.
Yeah. Well, also, I find generally buying books for people doesn't do any good because you're buying them a chore, basically, and nobody wants to get a chore as a present. I've had like some books given to me. Like recently, I had Will McCarthy, who is a friend, an author. He came by, he dropped off his latest book, and I was like, cool, thank you. And like I appreciate what he's doing, and I definitely plan to read it at some time because I like him and I like his books. But just like with all the other stuff I got going and the book club I'm in, and now doing the Worth the Candle podcast, I'm like, it could be a while before I get to this, man. I'm really sorry. I'm probably not going to be able to help you out with the timely review.
Mm-hmm.
With what you said about a chore as a present, you can reverse that and actually use it. So for the right person, you could say, my present to you this Christmas or whatever is I will read any book you give me.
Huh?
Oh, that's kind of cool. That. Yeah.
I've just been at like asking, please don't give me presents.
Yeah. If it's someone that you know well enough, you could say like, as my present, I will come to your house and read this to you as you're falling asleep until you fall asleep and then leave quietly. I don't know. That might be a little too creepy.
I would love that.
You could just play the audiobook.
No.
Julia Gallup has a nice, relaxing voice.
Yeah, but that's not the same. That's not like you want your presents to be personal, right?
I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've been looking for rewards for patrons.
We'll come to their house and read to them as they fall asleep. Nice.
Okay, my patron reward is I want Aeneas to read Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality to me as I sleep. Oh, good, that's already done.
Nice. Oh, Koi says everyone sounds drunk and drowsy at 1x speed. I believe we got that same comment last time.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's because I'm drunk and drowsy.
So. Fast, but I don't know. I listen to a lot of things sped up too. So
yeah, for someone used to listening at 2x or faster, it's got to be really disorienting.
My current like speaking rate is the result of years of conscious effort. I grew up speaking very fast, and so it's interesting. Am I the only person who listens to podcasts at 1x? Because I feel like that's how they're meant to be consumed.
Depends on the. Like, I feel like fictional stuff I listen to at normal speed or things with really great narrators. But if I'm just trying to get information in my brain, then I speed things up.
I think half my reason for listening to podcasts is to have something to listen to.
High Priestess Zella says someone's going to use read me a book for nefarious purposes, like making someone here read Mein Kampf or My Immortal. Honestly, I would be fine reading either of those because obviously Mein Kampf has historical significance, so it's not racist. And My Immortal also has historical
Arguably,
significance,
yes.
so it's just awesome. But yeah, no, I always listen to them. Generally, my default podcast listening speed is 1.25. Which sometimes if podcasts have music in them, and I know they have music in them, I won't do that, or I'll slow it down for the music part because, like, I think of the tempo of music as a drastically integral part of it. So that'll fuck it up. But in general, 1.25 with audiobooks, like fiction. If I am like reading it for a book club and I don't like it, I can tell how much I don't like a book by how much I'm speeding it up. Once it's like at 1.7 speed, I'm like, I should probably just not read the rest of it because it's not any good. But I do remember Gideon the Ninth. I slowed that down to 1x speed, and I kind of wanted to slow down even less because, God, her voice is beautiful.
Yeah, the voice acting in that. Oh, just the accent, honestly.
The accent. And you're right, and the voice acting, too.
Yeah. The character voices.
Magnus!
I listened to a podcast episode where a friend was sort of showing off some guitar technique. So he was saying like vibrato and things like that. And at the end of it, I just texted him like, "Oh my god, you're such an incredible guitar player! You're playing all these songs so quickly." And and then I realized it's because I was listening to a 1.5 times speed. That he is a good guitar player, but also it was that 50% faster than a normal human could actually play it.
I recently saw someone, I believe it was on a Chinese talent show, sing the aria from The Fifth Element. There's this one scene where an opera singer sings something that came from the 14th century, I think, Italian opera, and then they add a new, kind of, I don't know, sort of techno-ish thing after it, and it was done, using audio editing software because the whole point was this is something a human cannot sing physically, right? It is only an alien voice could do this, and it's really fucking beautiful. But then, like, I saw this Chinese lady very recently, I think just last year, sing it live, and it wasn't like 100% perfect, but it was so fucking close. I was like, oh my god, the Chinese have genetically engineered perfect singing peoples.
That's fun. Then you think of like an old George Carlin joke where like if it would have been funny if like Bach or Beethoven had composed a piece of music that was physically impossible to play and like tucked it at the bottom of a trunk so it would be discovered decades after they died. And then they find it and it's impossible to
Chinese engineered cat girl singers.
Nice.
Oh man.
Oh, Wizard just said the same thing. Yeah, that scene was supposed to be impossible to sing.
Oh, speaking of the chat, I'm gonna just say Matt just to avoid bystander effect. Can you tag Wyoe Kerr? I remember they mentioned in another chat like, oh, I'd like to be a part of this, but I don't see them in the thing.
Oh, I can do it.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I don't have access to the keyboard, by the way. Otherwise, I do it myself. Enosh said he would do it. So
live.
I like the fact that apparently she calls out. It's going back to Scott Mindset. Sorry. Apparently, she calls out people that she doesn't like, using them as examples. Didn't who was it? Was it Milton that wrote the Tour of Hell book? And he put everyone he didn't like in various circles of hell.
Oh no,
Dante.
Thank you. That's right, Dante.
Yeah. Oh, Dante's Inferno is
yeah. Milton wrote Paradise Lost. That's a different one.
Such a bizarre book.
There was other like interesting what I would have considered somebody would have pointed out for Julia in the book that like she uses a lot of politically charged drop my mic. Uses a lot of politically charged examples, which is fine, but it's like literally like, oh yeah, if you're a Republican or you're a feminist and like sets them up as opposite things, then I'm like, you don't have to push the outgroup that hard. Like if you're trying to hit a broad audience, you could have made this. It might have just been a point about like an unfair standard of assessing evidence. Like, oh yeah, if it's something that you agree with, you say, oh good, this is evidence for me. But if it's something you disagree with, you say, oh, that's not compelling evidence whatsoever. That's a poorly written study or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the question you're supposed to ask is like, well, if I felt the other way around it, would I find this evidence compelling? Because it's not fair for me to count as evidence for my thing if I already agree with it.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't do the same if I didn't agree with it. And I think she uses feminists and Republicans. And I'm like, you don't have to. You could have picked anything, right? But
greens and blues.
I mean, it's her thing. She's smart. She knows what she's doing. I'm just kind of curious.
So she must be aiming for a particular audience and thinking it's okay if I isolate the people who don't agree with this if it'll make me get these people who do agree with it more on board.
Maybe she thought that like, I'm not going to reach some segments anyway, so I might as well just throw dirt at them.
Right.
But I think she did say something in that that
Those
section
souls are
about
already lost.
she said
Or
something
maybe like,
in that section
hey,
about
somebody's talking shit about you in this book. This,
Right.
This book here.
Yeah.
buy it and find out.
Yeah.
Or just tag Scout Mindset and rant about it, because any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think that she did say too, if you happen to feel the other way about this, you're welcome to reverse the example. But it's like, why would you even just make that example
Oh,
that intense?
do you know how I actually found the rationalist community originally?
How's that?
I was a fan of the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe podcast.
Oh yeah.
And at one point, that podcast always has a quote relating to skepticism at the end, and I can never remember, is it Jay or
The one who does the quote at the end is Jay.
or okay, let's
Usually it's
he
Jay.
screams the quote.
Yeah. Carl Sagan.
Yeah, or he screams rather. Yeah, the person who God damn it. So he tried to scream Eliezer Yudkowsky and was like, Eliezer Yudkowsky, and so apparently somebody poked Eliezer and was like, hey, I think they're making fun of you on this podcast, this Skeptic's Guide thing, and he popped onto the forum and was like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh no, that's just my brother who can't pronounce names and is an idiot. Hey, do you want to be on our podcast? Oh, sure. And then he was on an episode of the podcast.
Oh, excellent.
And that is how I found the rationalist.
Which podcast was it?
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe.
Yudkowsky was on one of those?
Apparently I missed that one.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Quite a while ago, but and I don't even know if he was no, I think he was on an episode and they interviewed him about AI stuff.
Cool.
That's cool.
I might be misremembering.
That's another group of people that you can tell, at the very least, Jay and Bob keep up with the rationalist community.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they're great. Now I got Jay to do the voice of the groundskeeper.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was so stoked.
High Priestess Zila pointed out the example that I thought would have been informative to Julia when she was writing her book.
Julia
no way
has
she's
to know about it.
Exactly, yeah.
She has to know about it and chose to do the opposite. So
Mhm.
I think that's I mean, I think she's calling out specific people, right? Like I was sort of joking, but sort of not. Like she will call out in the book people who she's had a Twitter disagreement with, and it's like, okay, what's the point of doing that except to create, a beef, which is then going to serve as marketing, basically.
yeah, I guess that's the point.
At least once or twice she had said, Dave, not his real name or something.
Mm.
So maybe what she's trying to do with that, because again, I'm going to assume, I'm going to take the doof fiction approach and just assume that everything she's doing is on purpose because she's a genius.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming that she's doing those specifically to say, these are personal examples I use in my real life. These aren't abstract techniques that one can apply only from your armchair. These are things I try to do all the time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Could be.
I mean, it makes it more vivid when you have a real world example, and there's sort of a tone I feel, this is not a criticism, just an observation, where she's like, look, I've been trying to explain these ideas for 15 years, and you fucking people just don't listen to me, and I have a lot of thoughts on this, and you're gonna hear about it now. It's not entirely aggro.
I imagine it feels really good to have a book published kind of worldwide, and you have the opportunity to call specific people out, and they don't have an equal size microphone to call back at you. It's very hedonistic, but it probably does feel quite good that.
I mean, the people that she calls out, I'm assuming, are already people that are in the public eye because others know about them, so they have a microphone to speak back with.
One's an example with their cousin when they were kids, but
Right, well,
but that one was
you're allowed to throw your family under the bus.
That one was less of an uncharitable thing towards the cousin, more of an uncharitable thing towards herself.
Yeah.
It was it wasn't Halo effect exactly. This was early in the book, Matt. It was talking about my cousin was playing me, her favorite album or whatever, and she was 2 years older than me, so in my mind incredibly sophisticated, and so I was just agreeing oh my god, yeah, I love them too, they're great. And then the cousin plays one and that's actually my favorite song of theirs, and she's like, yeah, me too, I think it's my favorite. I tricked you, it's actually my least favorite song of theirs.
Oh, that's mean.
And then she's like, I could feel in my mind my position on the song actually shifting. I wasn't lying when I said it was my favorite. It was just I felt that way because I was inclined to try and impress her or something.
Yeah.
It was so that's where I mean it's a very very personal example sort of thing, and we do this all the time, often with things more consequential than do you like this song, right?
Right.
And I had the exact same experiences with the music and movies and stuff when I was a kid. So
that's a lot of what you like is being part of a culture and fitting in with your culture.
Yeah, I think it takes a level of I don't know. Adulthood isn't the right word, but I mean, neither is maturity. Maybe you have to run out of so many fucks before you're willing to burn any on like challenging somebody on what if they like something that you don't, or vice versa.
It also may be that like once you're old enough in your 30s or later, your tastes are somewhat fixed, because at that point, if you have not found your community and already started reproducing evolutionarily, you're already fucked. So your tastes don't matter anymore. It's it's only when you're young and you need to fit in order to survive that your tastes change to like what you're mostly surrounded with. I don't know. That sounds like Evo Psych and Wes right now would bonk me.
I mean,
it's too bad he's not here.
I'm just thinking it's more like you just get like a level of confidence where you don't need to move your every preference with the whims of the people around you, right?
Yes. Someone just linked the My Immortal as alchemical allegory, which is fantastic. They're talking in the chat about criticism of work and how when you can assume that the author is a genius and when you can't. And I love, Scott's take there.
All right, what is My Immortal?
Oh, My Immortal is a fantastic Twilight fanfic, which is basically it's like the Amazing Man 2 of Twilight fanfics, in that it makes fun of them, but also is kind of fun to read. Or at least, I don't know, maybe I'm flattering myself by saying Amazing Man 2 was kind of fun to read. But My Immortal is really fun to read, and it's a great parody of fanfics, and it is like consciously trying to be as bad as possible while still being readable and enjoyable. And Scott goes and analyzes it as if this was like a great work of literature. He was told by his college professors is a great work. So proving that you can find genius in anything if you are bamboozled enough by your culture.
I love it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
How apropos. This is like the Monroe's Law, except for SKCD, or excuse me, for SSC, because of the sub community that we're all in.
Aw.
So, yeah, first of all, Yash, you can give yourself a little more credit.
Okay.
Also, if anybody else wants to get on voice, it's
Oh, Evan Langley says maybe not on purpose, no one knows. I submit that there is no way that thing could have been written by someone who was not who knew what they were doing and was doing it that way on purpose. It's like Chuck Tingle. The first time you read a Chuck Tingle thing, you're like, is this guy crazy? And the more you read it, the more you're like, oh no, this is definitely someone who probably is a very
crazy like
successful
a
author.
fox.
Yeah, I would imagine a very successful author in whatever genre of literature they choose to write in, and does this for fun, because you can tell after a while that these things are intentional and they're just having fun. They're trolling you. It's misspelled. What?
Maybe the story, My Immortal, is full of these things.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it's a strange story.
It is fucking strange.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to get on voice?
And as long as we're plugging books, anyone who's not reading Worth the Candle absolutely should be. Matt, calling you out especially.
I've been telling you guys.
I know you're
that.
busy. Yeah, I
But
know.
only 3 chapters a week isn't that many.
It's not even close to enough.
Poor Steven.
I finished reading this week's reading we record on Tuesdays. Yeah, Wednesday at like before the end of the workday.
I thought you texted me like at midnight saying you had just finished plowing through it, or was it just through chapter 19?
It was through at least a couple of chapters. Yeah, by midnight that night I stayed up reading, and I'm like, even as I'm reading, I'm like, I'm going to regret this. I should stretch this out, but I ran through it. So
No, that's how it's done.
Yeah,
I've just crunched through all of it.
it's really good shit.
I'm going to get off the voice so that other people can have a chance and we're not sort of talking over each other. I do just want to leave you with one question, though, hosts.
Okay, what is it?
And that is, if there was ever a Muppet recasting of the Bayesian Conspiracy podcast, which Muppet would you want to play, each of you?
Are the Muppets the Sesame Street characters?
No.
I mean, there are Muppets on Sesame Street as well, but there's also the ones from the Muppet Show, which included like Fonzie the Bear and Miss Piggy.
I think
Gonzo.
Wait, Kermit and Miss Piggy weren't Muppets, or weren't Sesame Street?
Kermit was the only one of the Muppets that was on Sesame Street.
I see. I grew up apparently on the wrong side of television. I didn't watch any of these things. Are those 2 angry guys who yell from like the balcony?
Those are on. Yeah,
I want them
show.
to play me.
that can be Steven.
Cool. Someone has to be Beaker.
Statler and Waldorf are the guys on the balcony.
That's it. Yeah.
That's a hard choice.
Yeah.
I feel like Miss Piggy, maybe, or like Animal.
Oh man.
Do you play drums?
I actually have played drums in the past, and I've been thinking about getting back into it.
I would want to be played by the Muppet version of Angel from the episode of Angel where they turned into Muppets.
That's so
Delightful.
All right.
Wizard Point
Thank you,
says
Bert.
that. Hey, thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
Have a good
said they'd be
rest of the podcast, everyone.
No, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Wizard said that they'd be Count Dracula. That reminds me, or the Count, right?
Mm.
There's a YouTube video where I think every time he's
Unnecessary
counting,
censorship.
yeah, and he censors him, and it sounds really filthy when he censors. I think he's just saying numbers.
No, he's saying the word count.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like to count, or whatever. Counting is my thing.
Yeah.
So if you look up on Wikipedia the list of Muppets, Oscar the Grouch isn't on there. Count. What's his name? The Count isn't on there. Are they just
Scooter
not Muppets?
Oh, hey, Evelyn says I look surprisingly like the Angel Muppet. Thank you. I am very flattered. Ernie and Bert. Nice.
Yeah, speaking of Wikipedia pages that the Count is on, if you go to the Wikipedia page on fictional vampires, there's this big breakdown chart of all the vampires, including like their powers, weaknesses, and all this and that. Count Chocula. Oh, no, I was thinking Count Chocula, not the Count. The Count is also on there. The Count Chocula is on there, and like his powers include like turning milk like chocolatey sweet or something.
Yeah.
And his weaknesses include turning soggy in milk.
Surely everyone must be thinking the existence of a fictional vampires Wikipedia page strongly implies the existence of a non-fictional vampires Wikipedia page, which sounds much more interesting.
But Masquerade suppresses that one.
Make it.
Someone up above said Muppets include Labyrinth Muppets and Jordan Peterson.
Oh, from the lobster thing? Or
Just,
No,
just Jordan Peterson. He looks like a Muppet, sounds like a Muppet,
he
that
does.
kind of
He
thing.
sounds like
He
Kermit.
sounds like
doesn't he?
Kermit.
Yeah.
I think he's actually embraced that as part of his brand.
Alucard from Helsing is the best vampire. Oh, from Helsing Abridged. Okay, cool. I never saw all of Helsing, but probably because I didn't have the abridged version. And like most animes, they just
I
have
like the
filler
manga
episodes.
better.
and
It was like 12 episodes.
The,
No.
The old
there's
back in my
an
day
OVA
was.
that is a lot better. That might be what you're thinking of,
Okay.
and it's a lot, I think, closer to the manga.
JoJo's
Help
Bizarre
out.
Adventure also has good vampires and a lot of filler episodes.
What does?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Good vampires,
yeah.
lots of filler episodes.
I have never seen that, but I've had so many people
I couldn't
talk it
get
up
into
to me.
it, but like I like that it exists. But yeah, it's
I will say the Helsing soundtrack is amazing.
oh my god, it's so good,
Oh,
Raid.
so much good music.
I remember you used one of their songs somewhere in Methods of Rationality, I think.
Probably did.
Yeah, it stuck out because I hadn't seen the show in years and years, but all the music is very memorable.
Yeah.
All right.
Did anybody else want to jump on, chat, ask us anything, that kind of stuff?
Talk to us.
For
Yeah.
anyone who's not on the live chat, someone just posted a really good meme.
Yes.
Love it.
Keep the memes coming.
Yeah. Johnny, you had something you were saying?
No, I just hopped on because I am apparently the only person on this wide and wonderful internet with a microphone who wants to join in right now.
Well, we also, I think, have default mute just because we couldn't have 10 people try and unmute at the same time. So and you have to raise your hand if you want to say stuff.
Yeah, just like say at something at us in the chat, or you don't even have to add us. We're paying attention to it.
You can do the wave emoji that doesn't use enough to have it in the frequently used.
Yeah,
so-
that's true. Oh man. So someone gave us the sent a link to the stage option in Discord, which would have been absolutely fucking perfect for this, where for the most part people just are watching, but they can raise their hand and the moderator, like Steven, for example, could pull them up on stage and then they would be talking to everyone. Like, it was the coolest fucking feature, but you could only enable it if you turn your Discord channel into a community channel. And that included like giving Discord the I know they already look through our shit anyway, but explicitly giving Discord permission to scan everything that's posted and censor not safe for work things unless they're in the not safe for work channel. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck right off. I'm not sure I want to deal with that. Like maybe next time we could just enable it for one day and then disable it afterwards. But
And what was the perk of doing that?
There's a stage setting which is kind of does what we want to do here, but better.
I see. Yeah, we're managing.
Yeah.
Is there anything we'd like to know about our audience?
Oh.
Turning it around on you, making you ask the questions.
Yeah.
I asked the questions here. No, I don't know.
I'm
I'll
curious.
put it on the back burner for a minute.
What
Thank you,
people's,
lighten the turntables. I never watched The Office because I saw a few episodes, but even I'm familiar with that, and it's one of my favorites.
I would like to know what the average age of listeners is, but that's more of a survey question than.
Yeah, I'm thinking of survey like what careers do people have or aspirationally want? Like,
Hey, Me too.
Where
Nick.
in the world are people located? Survey questions.
Yeah.
See, we got 20, 25, 32, 29,
6.
32.
Scooter, your voice sounds surprisingly deep for a 6-year-old. Ooh, Zila is apparently immortal.
Oh, good. We got Zula and Chloe here. I got to point out that like I love half of what you guys say on the non-spoilery worth the candle chat are like things that because we record on Tuesdays, the day after the episode comes out, and since you guys don't talk about the episodes that we covered until the following Friday, I don't get to steal any of the ideas. But you guys say half the things that I say most episodes, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's very gratifying, and you guys had some back and forth earlier this week that I thought was great about. Shoot, I can't remember, but I'd said I'd pay $100 to read a fiction of it. That if you guys wanted to work on it together.
That's right. I think there's some Worth the Candle fanfics out there. I should look them up after we're done recording here because, I mean, they got to be awesome, right?
I enjoy
Hopefully.
the transhuman future that we're existing right now, where like a lot of media consists of fanfics of fanfics.
Yeah.
How does that make it a transhuman future?
I don't know.
It's very meta.
It's we've
We've surpassed fiction.
all
Ah, this
fiction
is
is now
true.
metafiction.
Transcended.
This is true. What I know about transhumanism is it's when things are more than other things.
Scooter knows of at least one Worth the Candle fanfics. If it's good, please link it, and I will check it out. They just came out with Alexander Wales just came out with chapters 29 and 30 last night for the early patrons, and I wanted to read it, but then I was like, that Drake meme where he's like, nah, to reading chapters 229, 230, and yeah, that's right, to chapters 19 through 21 again.
I got the email about that because I support Alexander Wales on Patreon, and I'm like, well, I saw that it goes to at least chapter 230. That's as far as I can see.
And you got to wait a long fucking time to get there. I'm sorry.
No, it's all
Whenever
good.
we
We'll
stop
find some
recording, I'm
way.
immediately going to go home and read those chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Which, how long are we going to keep going just to like until we get exhausted? Or
Yeah, we'll
did
probably
we pick a hard end time, or
we have no hard end time, but I figure usually we record for about 2 to 2.5 hours, so somewhere around then.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Yeah.
might need more coffee?
Yes. We should have another.
No, not right now.
There. Oh, okay.
Just
okay.
in the future.
Yeah.
I wish Alexander Wales would make one character out.
Read HPMOR. Oh, that'd be great. And then HPMOR stuff can start showing up.
Crossover.
Oh my God, we have to record until the
needs
sun
teamwork.
explodes. Our high priestess has decreed it.
How the stars work.
Damn it.
So, man, one of the best fanfics I ever read was someone wrote a crossover of. This is like when I was in middle school and I did not have my own computer that had access to the internet. So I was in middle school, like with my friends on the library computers reading fanfiction.net. Somebody wrote a crossover of, it was Pokemon and Digimon. And they like, the characters teamed up, used their powers to invade the real world. And they were fighting some politician. I'm trying to remember. It was so good. I think I still have it. I printed it out on like a ton of printer paper back before they like knew that they needed to charge people for printer paper. And I have it somewhere. I need to find it again. It was so good. It was basically a rat fic now that I think about it, but starring the characters of Digimon and Pokemon.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it also had a musical chapter.
I think my very first fanfic that I knew was fanfic was Shinji and Warhammer 40k. And we're it's crazy, but it was great, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because most people haven't read it, so it'd be boring. It's like hearing about other people's dreams.
Shinji from Evangelion?
Yeah. And he gets really into 40k, and his miniatures start talking to him, kind of the same way that Harry has the various Slytherin houses talking to him, or the various houses of Hogwarts talking to him, and
great.
It fills him with like confidence and ability. So it's just a totally different story when Shinji is, got a lot of agency. Anyways, we got a number of things. All right. So first, Johnny has a suggestion. Drink coffee continuously. The first one of you that needs to pee will signal the recording has come to its natural conclusion.
Oh, that's just not how we roll. We usually take at least one pee break during the episode.
We do. And we have a question from Man in White, which is, wow, a really good question. What is the moment in your life that you felt most meaningful? I'm assuming that the moment is the most meaningful. Marriage, graduation, funeral, psychedelics, etc. Jace or Steven, do one of you want to start?
Dibs on last. I need to think about this one.
Oh, God. I mean, meaningful would be like every time a friend of mine died, but that's not like, I don't know if you're trying to get meaningful as in like uplifting.
No, I mean, when
But-
someone's died, it's probably a really intense one.
Yeah, I'm sort of defined by the death of my two best friends. First year of college, I went to college because it's like I didn't know what the hell I was doing with my life. I just followed my friend there, and then I was stuck there for 5 years because I again didn't know what the hell I was doing. But like,
Damn.
yeah.
And
So-
was that the friend that died?
Yeah, Christina.
How far into college were you when that happened?
First year.
Oh, damn.
It was such a train wreck because I followed her there because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Then she died, and then I had decided to major in environmental science because I was like, well, if I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my life, I might as well save the world. But then like I was super depressed from my friend's death, and the classes were all super depressing. It was like basically every class was the professors talking about, yeah, okay, you're studying this major, but actually the science shows that we're all kind of fucked already. So there might be these theoretical ways that we could unfuck the earth, but it doesn't look good. And I was just like, I need to change majors. I need to change majors.
Yeah. And so you decided to go into AI instead.
No.
No?
Well, actually, that was when I was really obsessed with AI. I had not found the rationalist community yet, but just like independently, I thought AI was really cool. And for some reason, I was obsessed with the Tel Aviv Institute that was trying to make an AI that would pass the Turing test, which was considered a hard problem at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
Anyway.
car accident?
Yeah. Oh, what about you?
Well, I guess mine is kind of easy.
Sorry
I had to
for the downer.
No, I had to think about it for a while while you were talking, and I mean I was paying attention too, but I guess this is the
You've heard
one
the
time.
story though.
Yeah, that too. But everyone is saying they're sorry, and very much so. I think it's not a single event; it was a period of time. But I think the thing in my life that I both find most meaningful and that was most meaningful to me was the creation of the Harry Potter audiobook podcast thing, because it took many well, not many years, but it took several years, which was the longest single project I've ever undergone. And I don't know, it really changed my life. I became much more confident doing this. I did a thing that people loved, which was like kind of a first for me. I felt myself to be generally unlovable before that moment in my life, which I know that's a whole thing. I'm over it. Ish.
You'd better be.
I'm kind of over it. But yeah, and like it's I've gotten a lot of mail from people who are saying things like, thank you, this changed my life, or this really helped me through a tough period, or something like that. And so I feel like it's probably the most meaningful thing I have done with my life as well, which on the one hand is a really good feeling, but on the other hand, it's also like, now nothing I do with the rest of my life is going to be as meaningful. Yeah. Oh man. So, but yeah, it was that was definitely it, because I think that's the thing I did that had the most impact both on my life and the world in general. And I know it's a small thing. It's nothing compared to like Eliezer, who actually fucking wrote the thing and is trying to save the universe through AI. But it's the little thing I could contribute, so I feel good about it.
I got to mention that I Gianluca finished the Replacing Guilt audiobook or audio series, and so if you're still comparing yourself to world-changing titans, you should read this sequence if you haven't yet. And now you can listen to it. You can read it with your ears, and it's actually not that long when you're listening to it anyway. So
yeah, I mean, we did a whole podcast episode or a whole Bayesian conspiracy episode about how good it was,
and all that did was sell me on getting around to reading it. And then luckily,
really good, right?
Yeah. Jean-Luc is the guy who did the audio series for it, and I don't think I knew about it till he emailed and the show, and I'm the only one who checks the email for that. So I was like, oh no, you're good. But I was like, oh, perfect. I can now I have no excuse to keep putting this off. So
I think I've read 1 or 2 posts. I really got to get through and read the whole thing.
I mean, it's
all good stuff, right?
Yeah, but I mean, on the most part, like, it's not merely giving you an excuse to like not feel bad about changing the world, but it's like actually a way to articulate, I guess,
how to have like self-worth.
Yeah, how to help self-worth.
Feel like you have a meaningful life, find something you care about, etc.
Without comparing yourself to stuff like that, because there's no need to. I don't know. I found it helpful. I don't anticipate I'll do anything world changing, but I try to do little things that I can.
It reminds me of the Dave Mustaine story.
Which one's that?
Oh, are you familiar with Dave Mustaine from Megadeth?
No.
Okay, so Megadeth is a huge band in heavy metal. It was one of the founders. It is one of the greats. People like the guy is huge, multimillionaire, foundational and very influential for all the people that came behind after him. He considers himself a failure and is pretty unhappy with his life because he was originally in Metallica. And they had a schism earlier on, and he was left and formed his own band. It was like, fuck you, I'll show you guys. And of course, he never got as big as Metallica because Metallica is fucking Metallica, right? And like he's amazingly successful by any metric except the metric of I want to show those guys I'm better than them. And yeah,
you can always make yourself miserable by comparison to
Mhm.
somebody because like everybody's, I don't know, there's always going to be somebody better than you at something, but then you're always going to be better at something than some other person. So that's the bad metric.
Aw, thanks, Evelyn. So, Stephen, did you have a meaningful moment in your life, or
No, my life is utterly meaningless. Velcro asked which thing or what thing we're talking about. It's the Replacing Guilt podcast,
yes,
and Gianluca is the name of the guy who did it. I forget his last name.
Yeah, and Nate
Kentruda?
Soares is the author of those sequences.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's obviously been some big events. I think I tried to, and I think I've mentioned both of these on the show at some point, so I can push past them, or I'll compress them down. Like I guess I'm trying to think of like small things that were just like insightful for me, and one of them was I had this coworker that I didn't like or get along with, kind of like the exact opposite of a role model, and he was like our team lead at my last job, and one of his cats died, and like he had known that I had a cat that died like the year before, and we spent a lot of time talking about it. I got with him on his smoke breaks and stuff,
Pet death.
and yeah, and it was just like at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, I don't have to like relate to you as a person or want to hang out with you, but like at the end of the day, we can find common ground on really anything. Like there's just another guy who like loves his cat, right?
yeah,
And I think that was kind of it wasn't necessarily like the moment, but it was an articulate moment for like, oh, you know what, I probably relate to everybody that way, not necessarily on like our love of cats or something, but I share something like that with everybody, right? Not nobody's just like this person that is impossible for me to like or get along with, right?
yeah,
Or at least understand or empathize with.
Yeah, like, and I even if it's somebody that I disagree with on just about everything, we can find something that makes we can. It sounds like the hippiest bullshit ever, but something that brings us together
The hippies got
that we
something
can
great.
share. Yeah, Velcro mentioned proposing to your wife. That's fun. That's awesome.
yeah.
One of
like
my
you and your I guess wife now.
Yeah.
That's still weird to say that, but
it's fun. I feel
you're-
so grown up saying wife.
you're like one of the cutest and happiest couples I know, and it's always adorable seeing you guys interact. So I figured it would probably get somewhere in there. But on the other hand, it's hard to like wrap up 10 years of life into a single meaningful moment. So
Yeah, I mean, we have like I think I mean I don't have much else to compare it to, but I want to say near perfect communication where we can be like plain and honest, and we never, as far as I know, hurt each other's feelings, and there's never been a risk of that. Is honestly like the kind of relationship that like the Greek eudaimonia, like flourishing, whatever. It's like a eudaimon relationship. Like if I could pick a relationship for people that I care about, I'd want them to have one like this. She's the best, and that's definitely a big, meaningful part of my life.
Yeah.
I don't quite know how to compress that down into a moment.
Right.
But yeah.
We had two other questions above, I think.
Phoenix had one.
And it was slightly above that one.
Well, I think you passed it.
Whoops.
All right, well, let's tackle Phoenix's because that one is easy. And while we're doing that, you can scroll up and look for the one that we missed. Phoenix asked, what was the thing that we were doing early in the podcast that took up a lot of time that we cut out? I don't have that question directly in front of me, but that was the gist of it. I think the things that we used to do for like preparing or whatever that we don't do now, I think the biggest one is in the editing. I used to, because I came from the audiobook podcast, and in that, sound quality is pretty important. If I flub a line, I redo it. If I don't quite like how I pronounced something or inflected something, I'll redo it. And also importantly, I took out every and lots of the breathing in sounds, that kind of thing. And so when we started doing the Bayesian conspiracy, I brought that editing philosophy in with me, and I spent hours, and I know Stephen, you did too, just going through cutting out ums and uhs and sometimes breathing sounds. And it's for a conversation podcast like this, it's not that big a deal, and it doesn't really matter. And we cut that out, and instead just timestamp like really big flubs that afterwards we can go out and cut those out instead. But for the most part, all the little things stay in now.
Bathroom breaks is, like the
Yeah.
easiest thing to
Dog
put in there.
attacks.
But yeah, I mean, editing used to be like a 6-hour process.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd go through, listen to it, and since the episodes are about 2 hours, it'd be at least 3 minutes per minute of listening as you're going through and doing everything.
Yep.
And then I sort of, I can't remember if it was a process or if I kind of just came to you guys and I was like, look, this takes way too fucking long, and we don't get that much return on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like,
and you mentioned there was like some professional podcast where they leave it in of
rationally speaking, and very bad wizards.
And very bad, yeah.
Like, I figure if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me.
And it
I was
worked.
listening to Sam Harris had on a good episode just a couple episodes ago with Peter Singer and 2 other people they were starting the Journal of Controversial Ideas, and Peter Singer uses at least as many verbal fillers as I do. Granted, he sounds like an aristocratic Australian, so he's got that going for him to make him sound extra smart. But I was listening to him and I was gratified. I was like, oh, we have the same amount of like pauses and ums, like probably within a deviation of each other. I can't reach the key. Oh, smart.
There, just in there.
Anyway, so that was gratifying. But yeah, the editing time now is 30 minutes when you include like the things that Audacity just does for you when you say do this.
Yeah.
And it really makes it a lot less of a hassle.
I guess there was also like we used to do a lot more scripting.
We did.
Well, I don't know. When I first joined, I was trying to.
Oh yeah, we had notes
have-
and stuff.
yeah,
We actually
a
had
lot
notes
more.
that we looked at.
We gotta stop doing that.
I still do notes of the sequences.
Yeah.
I pull things out that I want to hit on. But yeah, aside from that, usually now it's like I did some. What was the last one where I had notes? It was a pretty recent one.
Was it the hate?
Yes, I think that
One?
was it. Yeah, I pulled things out of the the hate is the new sex post.
I guess it makes sense when when our episode topic is an article or an essay that, we could like pull quotes, make a script, but it seems like we sort of just ad lib.
We have another question, and Why We Cur joined us. Why We Cur, I have given you the guest role. You can unmute yourself whenever you'd like, and then ask questions or whatever. But before that, Johnny asked a question for us. We all love Ratfic. Which property ought to be a Ratfic, but as far as you know, is not yet one? And I have a really easy answer that is almost cheating, so I'm gonna wait. Do any of you have one?
Is it The Martian?
No.
That
Good, 'cause
kind
that's
of
my
already
answer.
is
I think that one
Ratfic.
already is Ratfic, yeah.
I mean, like, I think I was talking to Brian about this with when we transitioned from
Johnny
Methods of
agrees.
Rationality to Metropolitan Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know exactly how to quite gatekeep on what counts, but really I think anything that's like fun and entertainment that you're also actually learning actual stuff from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's probably too broad because you can learn actual stuff that's fun from a historical fiction, that's largely not fiction or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like Mythbusters basically counts.
That's true.
Like I'm not gonna.
It's not fic though.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, they
got the rat part.
well, and they'll take things from fiction and then test them. I know it's it's kind of apples and whatever trampolines. It's not even close. But as it turns out, if you're 6 feet underwater, you'll basically be fine if someone's shooting a 9mm gun at you.
Yeah.
Like they test that because they saw it in John Wick, right? Or some other action movie. Every action movie, I guess, right? But
Like in John Wick, was he? Because I didn't see the one where he gets shot at underwater. Was he fine when he was underwater? Or
Yeah.
Did he, okay.
yes,
Yeah.
6 feet. It stops
yeah.
the bullet.
That's normally how they get the when they do forensics on a bullet to see what gun it came from. They oftentimes shoot it into a tank of water so that it has all the markings and isn't all crushed up by hitting a wall or something.
Oh, that's smart.
smart.
I kind of feel like it doesn't matter what property. Like a good writer and can and has made like good Ratfic out of My Little Pony,
Yeah.
Frozen, Harry Potter.
Yeah, but so what property should be Ratfic that you would like to see given the Ratfic treatment?
Well, David, Yusuf, and I are like we keep trying to coordinate on working on a Dragon Ball Z Ratfic.
So it should be that one.
So I definitely feel like that would be great.
Yeah.
I think
and I have a lot of well, we both have a lot of ideas for it. We just can't seem to coordinate getting together and putting the ideas together into a coherent story.
I'm going to make a prediction of what Stevens is. I'm going to whisper it to you, and then you can.
Okay.
we
tell
both
us-
know what it is. I was gonna say Wheel of Time, and you knew that, right?
I was going to say Doctor Strange.
Oh,
I was thinking Marvel. Definitely.
oh,
there's
that
gotta
would have
be
been
something
that would have been
Marvel.
fun to do a rational fic of. I was thinking Wheel of Time because the characters are largely stupid.
Wheel of Time would have been. It would have been on my list, but since I haven't read very much of it, I didn't know whether it would need the Radfic treatment. But they are largely stupid, you say?
Yeah, like they don't optimize easy things that they could spam the hell out of. It's not until like the last book where they can do Doctor Strange style portals, and it's not until the last book where someone opens one in a volcano and then opens the other end over the enemy army.
Right.
And it's like, why did it take someone 5,000 years to think of that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
I really like
Ooh,
Scooter's,
Avatar: The Last Airbender
yeah,
suggestion. That's a good one.
that would be good.
Yeah.
Apparently Dragon Ball 1 already exists. Yeah, I figured.
Wizard says it's already really good, doesn't need a Radfic, and it's true that it's really good, but it's not a Radfic, so it could be even better, maybe.
I think the
It could
trick
be
would
rational, at least.
The trick would be writing it lovingly, because like
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are turned off by methods of rationality. The first few chapters and like a bit of it is like making fun of the Harry Potter universe.
Mhm.
That was actually why I liked it, because I was never that much of a fan of the Harry Potter books. I thought they were, I don't know, I grew up reading like Ursula Le Guin and like Narnia, so I was like, okay, this is just a ripoff of like the magical universes that I grew up. I don't know,
Yeah.
hipster push-up glasses thing. But
it was fairly unoriginally tropey. I liked Why We Curse saying that Doctor Strange was already pretty close because the magic system feels so suited to Ratfic. Like they're also clever, plays and moves in the movie. I'm looking forward to seeing the next one. All I know is that I think it's supposed to be a horror movie, but I know it's called The Multiverse of Madness,
Okay.
but I don't even know what year it's coming out.
wait, it's gonna
But
be a horror genre?
I heard that like
Oh,
2
that
years
sounds
ago,
Awesome.
and if they're making, I don't want to get my hopes up because maybe I'm was misinformed or something, but that'd be fucking awesome. Anyway, but like since Enosh hasn't seen it and one day I'll make him watch it, I won't describe the ending, but the ending involves a thinking outside the box move that was like, oh yeah, I can't just overpower the enemy. I've got to think of something creative, and this was a really clever way of solving that problem. So yeah,
What I really want is for Alexander Wales to like clone himself and write the Batman Ratfic that he was gonna
Yeah,
that he said he was gonna do.
I love
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Batman Ratfic.
And I mean, he's already such a perfect character for it.
I know. Batman universe just like has the best characters, and Gotham is so good.
I love when someone pointed out, and you got to squint a little bit, but someone pointed out that basically all the Batman villains are. What if this one aspect of Batman was taken to a horrible, evil extent?
Yeah, that's great.
Like the Penguin is taking his richness and making it evil and way out there, and Two-Face is having his split personality between Bruce Wayne and Batman and making it evil.
What about the Joker?
The Joker's taking his obsession and making it kind of
I like
crazy.
it.
The Riddler takes his detectiveness and makes it crazy and bad.
Detectiveness.
see, this is where when people shit on Marvel for like, oh, so the bad guy's going to be like a version of the good guy but bad, and like pretend like that's a fault. Like, no, that's what makes a compelling bad guy for a protagonist.
Yeah, it's the dark foil.
You want them to be exactly the character's dark mirror of like this could be what I've done if I'd made other decisions. Like that's
Johnny says, yes, Calendar Man, taking his tendency to be punctual to the point of madness.
I love.
Okay, there were a lot of bad villains in
I love the bad villains.
in the Silver Age.
oh, I remember Calendar Man from one of the Arkham games. He's in a prison cell, and on real world holidays, he'll make a reference to them.
Okay.
When you like walk past his cell, which you don't have to do. You basically got to make a special visit on Christmas to hear him complain about something about Christmas.
Oh, that's cool.
Little Easter egg.
Yeah.
All right, I'm tapping out.
Alrighty. Yes, Why We Curve, would you like to jump in here? I'm assuming he can hear us.
I think Gotham is actually based on New Jersey.
Really? I always thought it was Chicago.
I don't know. I know that a lot of people say it's New York, but I think that's Metropolis.
Oh, okay. Why We Curve has nothing. Okay, never mind then. I just assumed you wanted to say something. If you do come up with anything, let us know.
The internet says Chicago. Okay.
Okay, cool. Makes sense because Chicago was always like super corrupt politics, at least in my imagination of it. That's what I hear is the
the like stereotypical gangsters with Tommy guns and
yeah.
fedoras.
Leighton says Manhattan, but it can't be Manhattan because Manhattan was where Superman is.
Yeah, the
Metropolis.
Metropolis.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're fictional cities. They probably take inspiration from
A lot of things.
a variety of actual cities, but
Yeah.
I like man.
Man in White has a question. Oh, he does. We missed that. What is your favorite example of a time when you changed your opinion on something? Religion, free will, some trivia where everyone is confusingly incorrect, etc.
Man, I think I've talked about this on the podcast already. Let me see if I can remember a new one.
I really should keep a record of when I change my mind about things. It's hard because it's usually not a hard break where I had one opinion and then I change it on a dime. It's usually something that takes the course of weeks or months, sometimes years. My leaving religion was like that. That took a long time. My when I was like young and in high school, I was very much sort of a radical communist type. The burn it all down because capitalism is evil and unfair, and we can't labor under this shit anymore. And now that I am much older, I'm like, wow, that burning it all down idea would be bad, and capitalism is definitely unfair, but any other method tried so far hasn't worked very well either, and capitalism has us where we are right now, so I'm okay with it. I don't know. I've definitely gone from radical Marxism to being more libertarian, and which is still a position that is unpopular, I guess, with people who like government, but in a very different way.
I remember when I.
Why we Kerr, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you doing?
Yeah, cool. Hi, guys.
Hey there.
Hi,
I believe this is the
Wyweaker.
first time we've heard your voice.
Yeah, I've done a podcast here before. I don't know if you weren't there, but a few of the people in the Discord were there, I think.
Welcome. You are in one of those European nations, right?
Yeah, Sweden. I have
Your
a thick
English
accent, right?
No, your English is amazing. I was just about to say, I thought he was from Europe, but we've had other call in our previous episode, people who were also from, I think, the Nordic countries. And I was like, oh my God, did you translocate from America or something?
Jesus. I mean, I can totally tell when somebody's from here. So it's always surprising when people from the US say stuff like that.
Maybe
if you
it's
hadn't
Discord.
told me, I would have maybe kind of been like, "There's maybe an accent, but maybe not."
Well, I really appreciate that. That's I've worked a lot on it, so thanks.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, but anyway, my question was basically, and feel free to ask for clarification here, but lots of discussions I've had here with lots of people in this Discord usually boil down to some sort of thing of, oh, but I need this for my identity. I remember you, Iniash, a big part of why you didn't like wireheading was you had this identity that you wanted to preserve, right? Or do you think I'm mischaracterizing that?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by an identity I want to preserve, because I think wireheading basically erases you as a person, but in the sense that I wish to have an identity as a person, that is true, yes.
Right. So that was basically what I wanted clarification. I would like the input of all of you, to be honest, because from my perspective, I'm the consciousness, right? And the rest is just superfluous stuff that can be there, but I don't care if it's there unless it brings more positivity. You know what I mean? But it's clear to me that most people don't agree with me, and I'm just wondering,
oh yeah, I have
what
strong
is
feelings
even
about that.
what is even identity at that point? I don't even understand what it means.
Two things. Stephen, can you capture Wizard's question and paste it below the current one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Jace, you said you had strong opinions.
First, I want to maybe. Can you clarify your question more though? Because I want to make sure that I'm responding to what you're. Yeah.
Okay, so when people the most recent examples I have is Eniash example where he's like, oh yeah, but if everybody's just do you remember the Scott Alexander post where he's like, oh, God created this universe where everybody sits on a lotus? He said something like that. Everybody's perfectly happy, almost identical. And to me, that's perfect, but
okay.
You seem to disagree with that. And I don't understand why. What missing piece is missing?
This reminds me of arguments I've had with Wes about wireheading.
Yeah.
Where, so if okay, it gets really hard to talk about this because I feel like there's not good words for some of these concepts. But so a version of me that was just eternally blissed out sounds kind of horrifying because I actually get meaning out of work or out of, well, okay. I think my core main value is curiosity. So I get like the most enjoyment out of learning new things, exploring, and if I was just like, having liquid Valium like pumped into me at all times, that would stop that aspect of me.
And learning can be frustrating and annoying, but it's
Yeah,
so rewarding because you overcome that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The struggle to learn something or to achieve something or build something, I think, is really inherent in what makes a good life. And
Yeah, so
it just
my point of my point of confusion here is it seems like you're explaining it in terms of ultimate happiness, right? Would you agree with that?
I think that happiness is not. It's I don't know. It's not my like top priority, and that is the I think main point of the main crux between me and people who agree with wireheading, where, and that's also my argument against negative utilitarianism, where it's like I think happiness is great, but I don't think it's like the best thing about existence.
I basically agree. And I know Matt, I don't know if Matt is still here, has this thing about how all humans are basically a bunch of competing nodules in the brain that want you to do various things and are sort of in competition for your internal resources. And what you do depends on, how strongly one is weighted over another. And I think that is a very good way of modeling humans. And really, the desire just to be happy is always like something that's pulling on me, but it's not the only thing. There are many other desires I have that are much more important than just that. And if I was put in a state where that is the only part of me that was being constantly fulfilled to the maximum value it could be, I don't think that would be me anymore. That would be a tiny fraction of what was me that took over the rest of me like a cancer. I think there's a lot of things that are important to me. One of the classic examples is you ask a parent, would you rather that your child is in pain, but you believe that it's happy, or would you rather that your child be happy, but you believe it's in pain? And generally parents answer, I would rather that my child be happy, and I have the wrong belief that they're in pain. Because even though the parent would be made miserable thinking their child is in pain, in actuality, that child is happy, and that's the important part. One of my most best parts of my life was when I was creating methods of rationality, and I couldn't do that if I was just sitting around being happy all the time.
Did we want to have Johnny on?
Hi.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny. Yes, you had a fairly strong opinion vis-a-vis wireheading.
I'll jump in.
Yeah. So,
wait, hold on.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, you're good. I was
There's a lot
going
of raised hands now.
I was just going to say really quick. I basically concur with what they said, but I'll take it one level further. That I have this stupidly sentimental attachment to physical reality, to where like if I could move, I liked Phoenix mentioning what was that My Little Pony friendship is optimal. Yeah, if I had the option to migrate to Equestria, I would choose not to. I have a sentimental attachment to physical reality.
I super don't.
Like things things as they are, rather than things that I would visit for sure. That sounds fun, but I don't know. There's something exciting knowing that, or at least believing. If we're not in a matrix, I could visit Hawaii and pick up a piece of lava and be like, this, or a piece of what's the kind of rock that makes lava? Igneous. That sounds right. And like this was inside the earth like not that long ago, and there's something cool about that rather than just picking up a whatever. If I was in a super immersive Elder Scrolls game and be like, look, this is an Elder Scroll, like how cool is that? Like that sounds fun, but not the same kind of fun. All right, sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
By all means, quite all right. So Wes, as we mentioned, he he's the big wireheading fan around here, and I must thank him for my opinion, because it is by arguing with him constantly that I have formed such a strong opinion on this topic.
I suspect that's why he does that.
Yeah, I do too, and that's why I appreciate it. So when we talk about how wireheading, we expect it would change us. What is that horrid noise?
I don't know.
Who? Okay, whatever.
It was Koi, I think.
That seems plausible. So you have there is a meaningful sense in which you can say that anything that humans do is for selfish hedonic reasons. To some extent that is an accurate model, because we expect that the things we do will be good for us in some way, or it at least makes us happy to do them. And to that extent, if you expect that if you get wire-headed, you're not going to want to do any of the other stuff that you want to do. You're just going to want to get wire-headed because it is good enough that it supplants all the other stuff you might want to do. However, as an agent who has desires not just about those, so you have desires about reality. You might want your kid to be happy, for example. You want that because you expect that will make you happy to a certain extent. However, if you were wire-headed, you would not, because you would just be maximally satisfied regardless. The reason that you, or I shouldn't say you, the reason that some people don't want to get wire-headed is because they have explicit meta-level desires about their desires. They don't just desire things, they desire to desire the things they desire. And they do not like the idea of of at least certain desires being changed. There are some people who, I imagine many people, would enjoy thinking healthier foods tasted better, for example. It would be really great if broccoli tasted better than cookies. It would be extremely convenient. However, a lot of people would not like to change their beliefs such that, say, hurting people in ways that were beneficial to them felt as good as being kind to people, because while that might be a useful change to their values, they have a meta level value that they should not change that value. And I think that is a good way to conceptualize why people don't want to get wire-headed.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question there, Johnny? I just have a quick question there.
Sure.
So my confusion here comes from so I imagine somebody thinking that they want something. Mm-hmm. What in reality is happening is they have a hypothesis of what mental states will come from certain actions, right? Is it possible that they have a hypothesis of how their brain would react to certain stuff and they just are wrong? Do you know what I mean? Like they're imagining something happening that doesn't actually happen?
Yeah, I mean, I expect that a lot of the desires that people follow make them less happy. I imagine in fact, it is almost definitionally true that if I were wire-headed, I would be more happy. But I would still choose not to do it because the agent who is wire-headed and the agent who is me right now have different sets of goals. And while mine include my own happiness as one of those goals, they also include my values staying the same and certain external things about the universe that I want to be able to affect and would not be able to meaningfully affect if I were wire-headed.
Yeah, it's like saying Murder Gandhi would be okay with being Murder Gandhi, but actual Gandhi would not.
Yeah, in theory, I totally get that. That's the thing that confuses me here, because it's like, okay, if that is true, because I know the theory behind that, like an AI, for example, that as a utility function doesn't want to change, like I understand that. But since I am okay with being wire-headed, it sort of seems to me like one of us, possibly, like we could be very different, but like one of us is probably wrong, right? One of us is probably imagining a mental state and a reaction to it that isn't actually the reaction you would have. Right?
That does not necessarily have to be true, because this is a case where in cases where it's a values thing, you don't have to agree. If you genuinely have different values, you can come to a different conclusion, even if you agree about the same things about reality. You may not have
I agree.
To go higher than happiness.
I totally agree. That's why I'm asking, like, how do you know what you think you know, right? That's sort of the question I'm trying to ask you. How do you know this is actually what you want?
It's okay.
Well, did you have something you wanted to jump in on?
We've kind of moved past that moment.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sorry.
So
you can bring it back, though. I mean, we're still. Did you have a comment about wireheading?
It wasn't.
I have a more meta-level observation on wireheading debate here.
It wasn't so much about wireheading as what I'm hearing is like this undercurrent of is pleasure good and can we trust it, and like what do we value suffering or not? And Alex and I were having a discussion last night which was along those lines, where I I found myself having a very strong desire that when people are discussing these things, that they make a distinction between suffering and discomfort. They're very different states. One is productive and the other is destructive. I think with wireheading, that's probably a very strong factor that I'm not really hearing considered. It's just kind of being left out. Because all pleasure is not equal.
Right.
All suffering or all suffering is not suffering. I think people use these terms way too broadly.
Yeah.
So last night, when Eneash and I were talking about my previous discussion with Alex, I said that for one thing is like the difference between anxiety, fear, and terror for me, where I'm like, anxiety I can control to a degree. It is something that builds to overwhelming, whereas when I feel fear, I have an immediate uncontrollable reaction, and terror would be that beyond uncontrollable. Where like I don't even have the ability to be embarrassed because I'm still screaming. So when you're talking about wireheading, it sounds like the discussion isn't nuanced enough.
Yeah, the language barrier is so frustrating. Or
identity is a term too.
Yeah.
Like there's
sorry,
I don't know if this is an illustrative example, but have either of you guys ever been blissed out on psychedelics or MDMA?
No, for broadly the same reasons I don't support wireheading for myself.
See, if wireheading were a thing I could try for an afternoon, I might do it. In fact, I definitely would if it was safe, right? Just to see what it was like. Again, assuming that people didn't come out of it saying, my life will never be meaningful again, that was the best ever, whatever. If it was a safe thing to come in and out of. But I once took well over the recommended dose of MDMA, and your thoughts feel awesome, your body feels awesome. It's about as close to orgasm as I could imagine we can get without literally putting wires in our brains. And even in the midst of that, when I could ground myself and remember that I was a person with a name and a history, like I was glad my whole life wasn't like that, because not everything that I get value and enjoyment out of was found in that state. Now, I think if you steel man wireheading to say yes, but wireheading includes all of the other things, or even maybe just rewires you to not care about those things, that's a different thing. But
it's not wireheading.
Me as I am doesn't want to live in perpetual bliss. Although that would make a fun occasional weekend, right?
Well, sorry.
Have you tried any of the like drugs, MDMA, that has gotten you into that quasi wirehead state?
Me?
Who, me?
Why we cur?
No, because until
oh, I think we just lost him.
Oh dear.
We can't hear you.
Yep, we have just lost Why We Cur's audio.
Drat.
Oh well.
Can you still hear us? Why we cur? Maybe you could just type.
I mean, he's still in the voice channel, but it says he is on.
Did I cut out?
Hey, we can hear you now.
Okay, where did I cut out?
Very near the beginning.
Right as you were starting to answer.
All right, just give me a second. I'm just gonna exit that building here.
Oh, someone posted that pleasure is your brain's way of tricking you into reproducing. Was that it? Reproducing your genes? Scroll just a little bit.
Yeah. I like
pleasure
that.
is a trick
All
your
right.
DNA is playing on you to help it extend further into the future. Nice. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say I have not tried anything like that because I'm actually scared of getting addicted to it. But that's not. I just want to make clear that that's not an argument against wireheading per se. Because if I knew that I could like live like that for the rest of my life, then I would probably try it. But since I can't, it seems a bit.
Well, I mean, you
Pointless to
certainly
me.
can live like that for the rest of your life if you don't mind your life being less than 80 years.
I think that's what they're saying, though. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. But I think that would be a net negative compared to a normal life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would never advocate drug use without anyone doing tons of background homework and research. I'll just say very briefly that I don't think, in my understanding and experience, that you can get addicted to psychedelics like you get addicted to opioids or something, for example.
Some people can, though.
Some people can. There's definitely probably a risk.
Pretty rare.
Certainly you could wish you could do them more often or something. But I mean, one of the fun things about MDMA that prevents that is that apparently the human brain, for whatever reason, seems to only have a couple dozen, maybe 3 dozen rolls in them, or 3 times where they can get really rushed off of it in a lifetime, and then your brain just stops working for people who've done it a bunch. So that said, if you're desperately chasing that dragon and take a ton, I'm sure it could probably still kill you, even if you're not getting whatever the experience from it. But you're not an expert, so do tons of homework before doing any drugs.
It's an interesting comment that.
Yeah, I mean, just. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say it's interesting that you said you think it would still be net negative. I think that means almost that you might not be quite a wireheader, because I would assume someone who is like super wireheaded would be like, if I could work up enough money so that I could just be blissed out on MDMA for 10 years straight and then die, that probably would be net positive for the wireheader, because 10 years of bliss is probably better than the next 60 years of just working and struggling through life and getting older like everyone else in the world.
Okay,
I mean, that depends on your life, right? You can certainly have a better life than the description you gave there, or at least I think so. I mean,
I would be super into having a longer length discussion on it at some point. I'm not saying to shut it down now, but it sounds like there's a lot more to explore here, and I need to articulate my thoughts on wireheading and stuff before I can engage with it too much longer. But that's just me. So.
I did want to just because I feel like with the discussion of discomfort and suffering and all that, I feel like we might not be operating on quite the same understanding of what we're talking about with wireheading. Because when I'm talking about wireheading, what I'm trying to say is that you are in a state where you are feeling a sufficient amount of pleasure that no conceivable state that you could be in would be better than the one you are in your preference order. So it's like nothing that could possibly happen would make you happier than you are right now. So when I talk about like you have no suffering or you have no discomfort, what I literally mean is you cannot want anything more than you currently have. So whether you conceptualize that as a limit on your desires or a maximum point on your pleasure scale, or two different things that are happening at the same time, that is what I am trying to talk about when I talk about wireheading.
It sounds so boring.
What I'm hearing is that since Wes is our resident wireheader, we should just get him on for an episode about wireheading.
And why we care.
Yeah, I think perhaps so.
And I when you were talking about being maximally blissed out and couldn't possibly want anything different, this little voice in my head was like, yeah, but our brains are adaptive machines, so sooner or later.
That's why I don't think hell would work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you assume you turn that part off for the good wireheading. Part of the wire burns out the part of your brain that adapts to things, I guess.
So does the hell. That was Bart Simpson's comeback, is like easing into a hot bath, like you just get used to it. But I imagine that if you're a clever Satan, you turn off the part that gets used to it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should look at current research with actual brains of living beings and kind of take it from there with our wireheading discussion.
Yeah, I think
maybe
if
in
we're
the realm
going-
of possibility would be kind of interesting place to start.
If we're going full transhuman future, you can make whatever brain you want.
Well, I don't know. I mean, even beyond the point of like, it is bad form to say the efficacy of my argument has nothing to do with the nature of reality. But I do think this is kind of this is an argument that takes place in a perfect philosophical sphere that's sitting on a perfect philosophical plane. It's not.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's not really concerned by such constraints. It's you're feeling really good and you can't feel any better. How that's happening is not part of the question.
Okay, but for me, that's unusual for rationalists to have that kind of discussion.
We're not
saying you can't.
We're not
I'm just
immune
saying,
from intellectual masturbation.
Thank
This
you.
is very
I was
true.
like,
Also, petition to rename it from wireheading to intellectual masturbation.
Well, they're different things. You can intellectually get off on whatever random thing you want to talk. I meant it mainly in the sense of just engaging in pointless thought experiments just for the fun of burning an afternoon talking about it. But
I mean, I hate to bring. I don't hate to bring this up. I really like to bring this up. In the book club channel, they were just reading Stephen Watts's Blindside. Quick question: could anyone post real quick? Have you gotten to the point where you can talk about the full book, or are people still working through the last chapters? And Peter Watts. Yes, I think I said Peter Watts. I meant to anyways. Is it okay to talk about the full book now, or are people still in the reading the final chapters version of this book club?
Since no one's typing, I'll answer that quick question. What was your favorite example of a time when you changed your opinion on something? The first one that came to mind, this was early in my days of waking up as a sentient person. I mentioned in the Worth the Candle non-spoiler channel that I didn't really come online as a person until I was 20-something. So maybe earlier than that, I was listening to a libertarian podcast, and the guy was fun. It was laid back, and he had made some comment about how the wage gap between men and women getting paid was like horse shit, and obviously on its face, because he's like, you're telling me that Walmart, the super selfish corporation, wouldn't take the opportunity to save 25% of their income by just hiring exclusively women? And so I was like, wait a minute, this guy's not on, this guy's denying the wage gap exists. Fuck this, I got out of there. And so he basically stopped, I don't know if I unsubscribed or if he stopped posting stuff shortly thereafter, but it wasn't until years later when I was learning more about it, about the nuances of the wage gap, that I realized that I dismissed it only because I had in my head that, oh no, this is a real thing. Women get paid 77 cents on the dollar. And it was as simple as that. It turns out that there's more nuance there, and that's where this guy was coming from. And just to me, I came into it from a very politically charged point of view, and dismissed him as being just some blind shill for the wrong opinion. Where in fact, I think I was closer to that. Now that said, that's not saying that there's no wage gap. It's just saying that you can't hire. You couldn't fire your staff that was mostly men and hire all women and pay them 77 cents for the dollar that you're paying men. That's, if that was doable, somebody would have done it by now, and they would have saved a lot of money, right? Women get paid less on average for other reasons that some are correctable and some are convoluted, but it wasn't that straightforward. So that's
just because it's convoluted doesn't mean it's not correctable. Growth mindset.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, there are industries that are largely manned by women that words are terrible.
So
the whole healthcare industry, like cleaners,
education,
childcare, education,
manned by women is a funny sentence. In tech and other industries where you can calculate work and how long this will take per person of working on it, one unit is man hours.
Yeah.
And that's what we use at my company, and my team is now 20% women, and we've talked about it, and because I never heard the term until I started my first week, and I was like, you guys have 4 women engineers here, you guys call it man hours? And he's like, yeah, we know they don't, we've asked, they don't care. And I'm like, they might say that though because you're their boss. Anyway, so I asked, and it's one person, she doesn't mind it, but I don't know why you would stick to that when person hours works the same.
Human
right?
hours.
Yeah, well, doesn't mankind and that have a generic, this species?
It does, but humankind isn't all that much harder to say, and it almost sounds more formal.
I really think they're gonna pay you.
Sounds stupid.
You really think they're gonna pay all this the additional wages for you saying an extra syllable every time you say person hours? Ridiculous.
Only if you're a guy.
Right.
I think I clicked something.
I can get us back to where we were. But no, the reason I brought up Blindsight is because everyone is saying it's more or less okay to mention it. At the end of the book, I think this comes up even before the end of the book, but basically, maybe plug your ears for the next 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this. Basically, all of humanity that's back on Earth is putting itself into a wirehead state and just checking out of existing anymore. And that is the whole book is about consciousness. So this is are those humans still conscious? And it's an interesting question that the book asks. And I think it was for the people that have read to the end and are pro wireheading, do you consider Blindsight to have a good ending? Because basically the entire human species is wireheading itself.
The other happy ending story like that is Three Worlds
I was
Collide.
just gonna say that.
Yeah.
The
Although
I'm having a
Eneasz,
really hard time paying attention to the conversation with like who woo ooh woo TT.
Eneasz broke one of the conventions of fair intellectual masturbation, which is you drop the C word. You're not supposed to do that.
Oh, consciousness.
Consciousness.
Yeah, because that always gets us dragged off onto another big giant hole of conversation.
And it strikes me this is going to be really weird to listen to if you don't also have the chat to read.
Yeah, we're responding to the chat a lot.
Oh yeah,
Which,
the who-woo-witty question.
Eneasz, we got a quick question for you, then I want to jump to this next one.
Okay. Oh, Eneasz, how much of shift to libertarianism do you attribute to David, the King of Economics, who is also my co-host on the Mind Killer podcast?
Is that his title?
Maybe.
The economic.
Unofficially?
This is the Man of Spears, yes?
Yeah, David, the Economic Model is his current nickname on the Discord. Not that much. Maybe 5%. I would say okay, a good 40% is just generally aging and interacting with the capitalist system a lot and realizing that there's a lot of forces that push people in a way that would make strict communism untenable, but also that our current government is really, in my opinion, getting in the way of things. So part of it is just having more experience with capitalism as it is. Another good 40 to 45% is reading Scott Alexander, because gosh, he's a convincing writer, even when he's wrong. I don't know if he's wrong about this, but he
has the anti-libertarian FAQ.
He does,
which is funny because he is he's basically a libertarian.
Yes. And so yeah, reading his writings has really pushed me quite a bit there. So I'd say a small majority of it is due to Scott Alexander, and then the other 5% would be David.
What's fun about Scott Alexander is he's like the Superman of steel manning.
Yeah.
He can write a very compelling argument for something that he would never endorse. Then this other one was from Phoenix that I saw when it came up, and then I'm glad you bumped it again to get it back on the radar.
Yeah, please let's stop talking about wireheading.
So, what's the area in life that you're growing the most / where growth is the most important right now? So I wish I thought of an answer before I brought that up. Man of Steel. That's a good one.
I have one if you want more time.
Yeah, I've got a crabby half answer, so go right ahead.
I feel like Phoenix knows mine, but for the rest of y'all, I'm actually working a lot on trying to feel my emotions and be able to name them. There's this common thing that you get from certain types of childhood and certain types of just neurotypes, where a lot of my life I was really completely dissociated from my emotions, and I think a lot of that had to do with sort of the thing of roles and families. Basically, my parents thought that they could win any argument by, or they had the power, because children don't have power, to win any argument by saying, because I'm the parent and you're the kid, and that's why. And if I showed any emotion, that would further prove their point that emotions are bad and childish. So I had to sort of suck all my emotions deep within me, to the point where I couldn't even I got so good at this that I couldn't even see or feel my own emotions.
Oh damn.
And I'm still working my way through that, trying to be I guess I am a person with feelings. Meditation has helped with that a lot, where the noting practice of sitting, waiting for something to come up, and then first of all categorizing it as a thought or a feeling, and then pleasant or unpleasant, and then you can take it another level and say what specifically it is. Okay, thinking, planning, pleasant, feeling, anxious, unpleasant. And it sounds really stupid, but sitting there doing that for a long time is a really good way of getting a deeper, getting more sentient, I guess, becoming more aware of your own deep sub-level processes.
I think that's a really badass level up to recognizing yourself, and then not merely recognize and say, "Oh, that sucks," but then to go on and say, "Okay, well, I found it. That now let's actually try and do something about it." I think that's awesome. I mean, I don't have anything quite so profound.
It's so horrible to try to talk about it though, because words.
I think I picked up what you were putting down, but I mean, yeah, mine are less introspective. I think part of me, I want to grow enough professionally, and I'm at a really good spot in my career with my current job to actually get good at what I'm doing. So I'm trying to maximize the opportunity there. And while at the same time, I think just like, yeah, get good is a good way to put it, Wizard. The I like in a not so I don't know, mathy or heavily articulate way, just trying to maximize like the positive impact I have on the people around me and in the world in general. Like I could just do that by giving to charities or whatever, and I do some of that, but like it's more
Channeling Mr. Rogers.
I think I want there to be more Mr. Rogers vibe in the world, and so I try to be a little I'm working to try and actually put effort into that. What about you, Inyash?
Oh man, I'm a mess. There's a lot of things I'm trying to work on.
I'm a mess too.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
We can all be messes.
I would like to get back into writing, which is something I haven't done in quite a while, and it's proving challenging. I would like to become more optimistic about the future of, well, I mean, me specifically, but humanity in general. Just, I found that I used to be much more full of energy and like, saving the world is going to be great and awesome. And now oftentimes I feel myself being sort of nihilistic and fatalistic about things. And I don't like that, but it's also hard to combat. And it feels a lot like when I was depressed, earlier in life in my teens and early 20s, but I don't think it's quite the same thing. So I don't know. That's the thing I would like to work on. I would like to actually get
This is
up.
not the quarter life crisis. You're at the midlife crisis now.
I am actually at the midlife crisis. Yeah. I'm going to die. That sucks.
For what it's worth, I helped balance some of that with the right combination of antidepressant meds. So,
yeah.
It's again, like I take a lot of inspiration from Jace's example, because it's like not just having identified a hard to see problem. Right?
Aw,
but
April
then
is so
Hard to
sweet.
articulate problem.
but well, hard to articulate, but even hard to notice. Like that's the kind of thing many people don't introspect to that level, right? But you didn't merely stop at identifying it. You said, how can I actually work on and fix this?
Yeah.
And so, Enosh, like just in general, if there's anything that you want to try and work on, like you can always try and chase down like an actual solution, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a cohort of people who are, around to try and help. So,
Yeah, I like surrounding myself with smart people.
Yeah.
As a life strategy, it's worked out really well.
I'm also not sure how much of it is just due to the fact that I seem to get a lot of enjoyment in life by being around people, and I haven't been able to do that for over a year.
Oh, that's like the state of the world right now.
Oh, it was so
Fuck
nice.
this pandemic.
It was so nice being with Alex and David yesterday. We drove up and just hung out with them for like 3 hours, and it was fucking amazing. I'm looking forward to getting back to that too. So
Every
maybe it's
time
that.
I'm on this podcast, my therapist pointed it out, but like they're like, hey, like I noticed that every time you talk about this podcast you do, like your whole face lights up. And I was
Aw.
just like, yeah, it's like, the thing of hanging out with friends,
Mhm.
that like that aren't just the same people that you see every day. Also, not that like I live with Phoenix, I love Phoenix, and like we have a great relationship, but then like there's also something cool about having novel people.
Yeah, totally. Everyone's chasing the strange. I would like to also like be less of
chasing the strange.
I would also
A
like
very unromantic way to put it.
I would like to be less of someone who's always trying to please everyone, because I kind of like that about myself, but I
Oh my
also
God, I could talk to you
not
about
being
that.
able to say no sometimes is bad, and then like sometimes I got to bring up something to someone, but I don't want to, so I put it off for weeks, and that just makes things worse.
That's another thing I've been working on for a long time, is not being such a horrible goddamn people pleaser.
Mhm.
This whole lifetime of unlearning.
And
Like,
then every now and then you just snap because you've been pleasing for so long, and then everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, you asshole!" I'm like, "No, damn it!"
well, that's it builds up resentment, but that's
Yeah.
part of the whole like noticing emotions thing, is that I wouldn't notice the resentment building up, and then like I would suddenly just lash out at like my loved ones, and it's like, wow, I don't want to be an asshole like that anymore. But then there's this whole process of having to untangle it all the way down to your childhood, and
Yeah, it's interesting. I talked about like trying to be all rosy and optimistic in the world, and I don't struggle at least as much as I did, even at all. I mean, I don't have an opportunity really to please people, since no one goes outside to talk to people anymore. But like I used to be definitely a doormat, and I don't know what switched in me. I try to put positivity and light into the world, and at the same time, I have no trouble being just a put my foot down asshole if something actually matters or is really annoying.
I really value that about you.
I appreciate it. I don't quite know. Someone is asking me for advice on how to like do that with an interpersonal issue, and I didn't really know. Like I told him, like I don't know if I can articulate how I get to exactly where I am, and even if I could, I don't know if it's advice I would want to give, because I think part of it is that I give like I sort of don't care enough about enough things. So like if something
No, I relate to that. I think Felix was asking me about stoicism the other day, and I was just like, or I've had this come up before too, where someone's like, "How do you get good at stoicism?" And I was like, "Well, I really don't want to give anyone the advice that worked for me, but have one of your best friends die. Like, it's not good."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if you had something like that like made the switch, or if it's just more that you can't articulate what happened though, or you don't remember.
I mean, it's more just I think that like I don't quite know exactly when don't know what exactly the switch was. I can't think of roughly when it happened. I would have been 22 or 23 or younger, 21, somewhere in there. But like the I don't know. It's hard to articulate, but like I said, if it was a pill I could give to somebody to say, here, now you have the same attitude towards these things that I do. I don't know if I'd give people that pill, because I think part of it includes like just not giving a shit about but that's actually not great, right? There's some things you should give a shit about, and
but there's a lot of things that you shouldn't.
Yeah, but like I think if you have no fucks to give whatsoever, then you're in kind of a bad spot, because it means you just can't care about stuff. But I'm not exactly there, but I wonder if I'm on that precipice. So
it's good to get calibration on. I think like it's like a really delicate balancing act, a lot of these things. Like, you definitely don't want to be too much of a doormat. You definitely don't want to be too much of a bully or narcissist or whatever the opposite of a doormat is.
We had another question. Do we want to hit that one?
Yeah.
Suppose that reincarnation exists. For your next life, you get to choose the country, but not the parents. Veil of Ignorance style. What is your pick?
Oh, man, that's a hard question.
I am not educated enough about the world to have a good answer to this question. A first world nation?
Yeah.
USA.
Well, no, it's not really a hard question for me. I would choose the USA.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like hating on the US.
Hating the US hipster.
Don't get me wrong. I feel like there's lots of stuff to complain about.
Definitely.
And not merely complain, but to have right gripes about. Norway was a good answer. Yeah, Switzerland. A lot of those like zeroth world country, or if we're gonna say first world is US,
possibly Singapore.
Singapore would be interesting, because they do have a very Singapore is so weird. I really want to visit.
Yeah.
Like
I want to.
It's
I almost want to say Japan.
People are very happy. Yeah,
right.
Japan
I kind of want to say Japan just because it's such an interesting culture, despite the xenophobia and the sexism. It's still like
and the high rates of depression.
Yeah. There's bad things, but man, they have this.
But it's fucking Their history is fucking awesome. Their culture is so rich. Their music is really good.
Yeah.
Why were you thinking USA though?
Well, because it still has the highest standard of living by far. It's
is that true?
Yeah, I think so.
Does anyone in the chat know whether the U.S. has the highest standard of living on average?
And what standard of living? Like baseline income?
Well, yeah, I guess that's what I meant. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily include things like your health care or how stressed you are in life. But yeah, I was measuring it more in terms of
Norway.
A combination. Is it Norway? That makes sense. In combination of things like GDP and political freedom and things. I think overall, and the ability to affect the world. Also, just right now, I mean, being that it is the current ruling empire of the world gives it a lot of advantages.
Does Sealand count as a first world nation? Maybe? Huh.
Sealand? What is Sealand?
Isn't that there's like 2 people in their population?
Oh. Okay.
It's an offshore platform in the North Sea. Yeah, it's the artificial
I would not
island?
want to be a baby on an offshore platform.
Maybe not, yeah. You don't get to pick your parents.
Yeah.
In this thought experiment. I feel like I really love to. I mean, this is just sort of related to my curiosity thing and the whole I wish that I could experiment with wireheading just to see what it's like. I wish I could see what other people's brains are like. Like, wouldn't it be cool to jump into other people's heads?
Yes.
And see whether their just process of thinking is basically the same as yours or totally alien and different.
It would be really cool to jump in other people's bodies. Me and Charlie already have a pact once the transhuman future comes.
It's happening.
Oh, fuck yeah. Body switching.
Same with me and Rachel.
Nice.
Although I think that she's I think she agreed much without thinking about it, because she doesn't think it's likely to happen. I don't know how likely I think it is to happen.
Once it happens.
I don't think she will, but I think she kind of agreed. She's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But I'm like, okay, you realize, I'm being serious, right? Okay.
Let's not answer that one. Um,
Does living in a black person's body count as blackface?
Wizard is trying to get us canceled.
Nice
Yeah.
try.
But yeah, like I feel like, and I wish I could just sort of do the experiment a bunch of times and just see what my life would be like if I were born in Bolivia versus for some reason I keep thinking of South America because it's been on my mind lately.
I mean,
like Bolivia, Venezuela.
Part of my answer is the fact that I was born
Portugal?
in Poland, and my parents immigrated here when I was pretty young, and I can compare like how my
Yeah, do you
my
remember
relatives.
Poland?
No, not at all. We moved out when I was 6 months old,
Dang.
and then we moved out of Germany when I was like 3, possibly 4.
Oh, I didn't even know you were. I thought you just went right from Poland to U.S.
No, they were in a refugee camp in Germany for a while.
Oh shit!
Although saying that word, you think of like tents and shit. No, this was like
like an upscale refugee camp.
It was an apartment block that wasn't being used for anything else, and so the
Right.
government put people in there. It was, there was a whole program of taking in refugees from the Soviet bloc countries to weaken them, and it seems to have worked. But yeah, I compare my life and how it's gone versus like some of my cousins that are the same age that stayed in Poland, and I'm like, this was just pretty much on every metric a better life.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, that's maybe good to know for you. Yeah, sucks for the other people.
That's what I was going to say about like shitting on the U.S. Don't get me wrong, there's lots to shit on, but I don't like the history of like, oh, the U.S. is the worst. Because
Yeah.
I feel like that just can't be true because we've got people trying to get into the U.S. and you don't try and kick your way into a shitty, nightclub. You leave. So
The U.S., the less shitty country.
yeah. So yeah, don't get me wrong. Johnny, not saying the best.
It's much harder for people in Guatemala to kick their way into Norway.
Valid. Yeah, I mean, part of it's walking distance, right? Or non-sea commute
That's
distance.
a good point. People also try to get into the 1%, and they also suck. Wait, you're saying that the 1% also sucks? For clarification, right?
No, they're saying the people who try to become the 1%. I'm kidding.
I think that's unfair to both the people who try and to the 1%. Some of them don't suck.
I have my dad has 2 sisters, and they both married rich guys, and they are so goddamn different. And I hope they never listen to this. Well, the cool ones can listen to it, but there's the one couple that just like travels the world and has lots of awesome experiences and meets lots of people, and like they use their money, I think, like to make themselves and others happy, whereas the other family is the like sitcom level like crazy billionaires who are like really stressed out because they have to throw a great garden party with Martha Stewart, and like they're like on a weird diet where they only eat artichoke hearts. Poor children.
It's wild. Man and White, I unmuted you if you want to join
They're
in.
poor children who went to Ivy League schools and have great jobs. And
I think you have to give
yeah.
them the live guest role as well.
Oh, whoops. Stand by.
Hello.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Save us from this train of thought.
Too bad. I'm gonna plunge into the deep thought.
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
No, that could be fun too.
So I have a question about the Discord server. Actually, what do you think the main aspirations to get people to enjoy themselves, to get solid good vibes with each other, or to perfect the craft of rationality?
So what's the point of the Discord server you're asking?
Yeah. As main aspiration, what would you picture like the good
I think that
Go ahead.
a group progression?
getting people to getting people together that are aware of rationality, interested in it, and therefore that would make them better at it, would make them happier.
And it's fun to do. I would just say all of the above, which is a lazy answer, but I think the right one.
I kind of like how the Bayesian conspiracy split off from the Bayes University, and one is kind of the community channel, and one is more of the like instrumental channel.
Yeah.
I think that there's a place for both. Definitely.
I would say like the opposite. I would say none of the above. I just like the Discord server to be here for people to chill and chat if they want to. I don't have any goal for it personally. Maybe you guys do, or
we have no control over it. Also, like
well,
okay. I guess we have some amount of control over it, but like if we're not like the dictators of the Discord, so.
I mean, we could.
No, that's
I've
understandable.
never wanted to moderate anything.
That's way too much responsibility.
Yeah. One of the things I like about it is that there's very few rules, and it's more of a society policing itself kind of thing. And I know if it ever grew really quickly, that couldn't be the case anymore. We'd be stuck in an eternal September kind of situation. But since it's only been growing by a few people every week at most, it's been just fine, and I'm happy with that.
Being happy is a pretty nice goal.
It's okay.
I love what Jan Christian said.
What did he say?
Come for the intellectual stuff, stay for the community. Absolutely. And you know what? Humans learn through interaction really well.
Yeah.
That makes some solid lessons. So right there with you, bro.
Again, I made like
community matters.
Oh, super does. I think like some of the best choices I've made in my life have been ones that have been intentionally selecting communities. Like when I was in Jersey, choosing to drive an hour to and from the Philly restaurant groups was super worthwhile investment. And actually, I have Ineash to thank for like encouraging me to do it. I was really scared to come to my first live like in-person rationalist meetup because I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be the dumbest person in the room. And I was, but being the dumbest person in the room is awesome. I was like, oh, it's gonna be embarrassing and people are gonna not like me. But then I realized that like this is a great community because you can be the dumbest person in the room and people can still like, you know, like if you're there to learn from other people. I was like, I felt so welcomed. It was awesome.
Yeah, Johnny's hitting the nail on the head, and I'm glad to have usurped the role of dumbest person in the room, Jace. So,
I don't know about that,
but yeah, I just saw I put cake emoji to it. Evelyn said, "Question: If you could create a world, planet, universe that's perfect for you personally, what would it be like?" And I can't answer that other than to say that you're asking us to like quick define utopia, and I don't know. I don't have a good quick answer.
But the quick answer that came to mind, which I don't know if I endorse, but I'm just gonna play with it, is this one. The world's pretty cool.
Like, I feel like if there were more areas where you wouldn't just die from being outside naked in 20 minutes, like it would be just a better planet overall.
Maybe.
Like almost all of the planet, just if I were to drop you somewhere at random, you would die in just a few minutes.
I don't know about
especially considering
minutes,
especially considering most of it's ocean.
Most
water.
of it is ocean, but
yeah.
I can swim pretty good.
My ideal
Mostly
world,
2 hours.
My ideal world would definitely have optional PvP. So you could turn it off and be immune to violence from other people.
I did.
Oh, I thought you were going to say so you could turn it on and go on Grand Theft Auto mode.
No. Like the world we're in right now has non-optional PvP. This is a gladiator universe we're in.
No, I did really love playing. I played Ragnarok online for 6-7 years. I was addicted to it. It's just like your basic MMORPG. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I wish that what is the genre that Worth the Candle is?
Lich Fic.
Yeah, if the world was
not
more
Lit Fic, Jesus.
It's
Sorry.
definitely not Lit Fic.
No.
Lit RPG.
Lit RPG. Thank you.
Yeah, if the world were more of a lit, god damn it, more
lit
of a
RPG.
more of a lit RPG, that would be cool. Like because the thing I really enjoy is learning stuff and leveling up, and having like that, being able to pull down a stat counter, and like pick a class path and like equip the right gear and just get like the reason video games are so rewarding as opposed to real life is just that you have that feedback.
I've recently become like really enamored of recent decades. I think this started with my like being nostalgic for the 90s, and I know that's because I was just a teenager at that time and everyone loves their teenage years once they get older.
I don't.
But like once they get older. But
no.
When you get to be my age.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, back in my day, I didn't have to pay rent or feed myself.
My life has just been getting better and better. Like, I occasionally would think, like...
It has been, definitely.
I've fantasized about... I think it's really fun to fantasize about. What if your current self, could jump back into, like, your middle school self and do it over?
I would do it.
I would
Bitcoin.
not, because I would be a different person. Like,
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Well.
It'd be worth reliving the last 20 years to be able to invest heavily in Bitcoin.
Well, but that's basically just saying, I wish I was rich.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd
be willing to relive the last 20 years, and even try and dodge some of the mistakes I made or something, and then be have $90 million right now.
See, I've kind of become enamored, like I said, of recent decades. Like I've been watching movies set in the 80s or made in the 80s and movies made in the 70s a little bit. We watched Dirty Harry recently.
We did.
Which was not a very good movie, but gosh, the 70s were an interesting time.
Yes.
And now I just kind of want to jump back and live in various decades of my choosing for a while. Just because
that would be cool.
Yeah, it would be really neat to experience those cultures firsthand.
It's kind of the same thing.
Reading about them,
being able to like relive your life in different countries.
One thing our Earth is missing: magic.
Yes.
If there was just some magic,
Science
that'd be a
is
lot of
magic,
fun.
though. Look, we have cell phones.
It don't.
We
yeah,
have telepathy, basically.
That's cool. We have
We
telepathy,
can fly.
but if you could work hard to train up your telekinesis, or I mean, science is magic that works, and if there was magic, it would become a science, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and maybe I think that there's something to be said that it only feels like magic is fun and attractive because it's this mysterious unknown thing, and that if we could bring it into our world and bring it part of the mundane, it would just be like, oh yeah, sure, you can go to school for 5 years and learn how to move things with your mind, or you can just go to the gym and weightlift and move them with your
Friendship
body,
is
right?
magic.
Yeah.
Friendship is magic, though.
Coy. These are the kind of riffs that I think that make I always put a smile on my face reading through the
He did the black heart.
the chat. Let's see.
Wait, Lucas, not Lucas, sorry. Man in White is still in the channel. I'm sorry. Were there you had other things?
The conversation we're doing. Well, but if we ask the same question about Utopia, I still have a soft spot for the Jack Fresco vision of Project Venus. I know it's Utopia, but if I have to pick Utopia, I gravitate to that one.
Okay.
Project Venus.
Yeah, can you tell us about that? I don't know that.
Oh, it's quite an individual. I think you would like to hear him talk.
Is it a book series?
Yeah, Koi. Yeah. He released a book, but thanks, Xoranda. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm definitely gonna have to go back through this chat after the episode. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
first of all good memes I need to scrape, and then like
I'd say Jack Fresco was one of the main reasons that pushed me to change my mind of topic of reveal.
Huh.
Thanks to Sam Harris too, but
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I definitely got to read this now.
I got to say, Zorander, Jace mentioned Enosh mentioned, who mentioned Jace mentioned the University of Bays. Zorander started that, and this is what I pictured the University of Bays looking like in my head.
Yeah.
So you know.
Man in White, I'm just kind of curious. I've always sort of wondered this, but never, had a chance to ask you. Is your avatar a picture of you?
No, it's JD from Scrubs.
Oh, okay. It was very small on my phone. I was going to say you are a good-looking man, but I guess JD is a good-looking man.
I just wanted to put forth in the Utopia discussion Omelas, not because I think it would be especially pleasant compared to all the other ones, but because as a moral philosopher who did moral philosophy for a little while, that's the one I have to pick as punishment for my sins.
I mean, wait, are you the kid though? Or are you the one who walks away?
That's the trouble. There's just a random chance that I'm one or the other.
Oh no.
It's a very small chance that I'm the kid though.
I like Scott Alexander's argument that it is literally better than the actual world we have in every way, but I can't read that story and feel good about it. Yeah.
Man,
I mean, it's like 2 paragraphs where we see the kid actually discussed, but just the cognitive dissonance that all the people have is very upsetting.
Yeah.
It is. It's so ominous feeling. Scott Alexander had I don't wonder if anybody, you smart people who are fast at computers maybe could remember what this was called and post a link, but he did a Con World project.
Oh yeah.
That it was his take on what a utopia could look like. Does anyone remember what that was called, or happen to be able to grab a link and throw it in there?
I don't remember the name of it. I think he detailed some parts of it in his post about the archipelago.
I remember there used to be a link to it on the top bar of the old Slate Star Codex page. I don't know if it's still around. Wizard, this was one that he described that. I don't know if he debunked it or was interested in doing that.
We just want to point out have been going for over 2 hours now. Do we want to start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I'm going to keep going, but if you're tired.
No, I could. Oh,
yay!
Nice. No, it's good. We can keep going for a while longer still. I just wanted to, give everyone a chance to chime in because there has been 2 hours.
Yeah, has anybody not gotten on Voice who wants to get on Voice?
Oh, things I learned by spending 5,000 years in an alternate universe.
Yeah, that's the one. Thanks, April.
Thank you.
I've got a economics question for everybody. I've seen like a 4,000% increase of the value of the Dogecoin I bought for fun like 3 months ago. Should I hold on to it and see if it keeps going up, or should I sell it? All right, we got one sell. So the thing is, if it ever hits like $10, I will make a fortune. Okay, shit. Well, you guys are all saying to
I don't know.
to
I kind
sell.
of feel like you should keep it.
Except for Johnny, who says all coins increase in value forever.
See, the thing is, I don't need a portion. It's really
Sell the
just
portion.
like, do I want to like, the money now isn't life changing, and the money invested was basically nothing. So I could get a return on my investment, or I can just hold on to what I've got here, right? So
First, Koi says sell. A few lines later, Koi says hodl. Koi's trolling. I don't know. You could do what I did with Bitcoin. Is when it got to a peak that I thought, this is ridiculous. It's not going to get any higher. I sold half of it. So I didn't feel bad when it kept going up after that. I mean, I felt a little bit bad, but not as bad as I would have if I sold it all.
Tweet.
Yeah.
Right. Just like over the last 3 days, it went up like from 7 cents to 33 cents.
Ridiculous. It's literally a joke currency. Like I would sell, but that's just me.
I'd keep it.
See, I would buy Bitcoin, but I don't expect Bitcoin to ever like 3x in the next couple of years, right? Whereas if Doge were to 3x, it would just be worth $1, right? So like the money that I would get from investing would be a smaller return, even if Bitcoin continues to grow. I'm clearly not.
Of the ad money. If people believe it, it costs that way.
Yeah, it's true.
I feel like if you're not worried about that money and you don't need it for anything, I'd say just hang on to it. Like, I've been continually impressed by how well the coins, the fake coins, the imaginary coins, that's all money.
Thank you to all the people who said don't sell, especially Phoenix, for telling me what I wanted to hear.
Well, Phoenix, I don't know. Phoenix, do you want to jump on voice and talk about your Bitcoin?
I love that.
Or just, if you don't want a voice, you could. Yeah, do it.
Hi.
Hey.
How's my audio quality right now?
It's fine.
Okay, cool.
Good standard.
My strategy is just like throw some money at the thing and then ignore it, so it stops stressing me out.
See, I did the opposite. I put a widget on the home screen of my phone.
Yeah,
oh my god!
Don't do that.
Don't do that. So like, I recently ignored it for a year, and then I checked recently, and I was like, my $1,000 in Bitcoin is now $10,000 in Bitcoin.
Nice.
Maybe I should pay attention to this like every 2 months. And so I set a reminder to pay attention to it every 2 months.
All right, I'll take off the reminder off my phone to remind me. What month is it now? April?
It's the price of the various things I have money in. I will Google at random when I think of it, and sometimes that's like every week. But sometimes I'll just go for 2-3 months before remembering. Oh yeah, let's see what Bitcoin's up to.
I would at least say, if you do cash out, just take the cash and immediately put it in like a Vanguard or something.
Oh, I would think I'd take it and take a fun, like, expensive weekend trip or something. Do something stupid.
Yeah,
I put my responsible money in Vanguard. This is money I got investing in Dogecoin. I don't know if I think I might be ruining the vibe if I were to do something responsible with it. That said, if it ever turns to $10 and I've got 70K off of it or something, then yeah, I will invest it wisely.
Yeah, I was just after seeing this and looking at the charts for a few days ago, I was just thinking of putting $5 in like 30 different coins, just in case any of them do something ridiculous.
Yeah, why the hell not?
See, this is exactly the kind of thing that we should all be doing because we've all learned that we should have done this with Bitcoin, right? Now, granted, the market's different now on the number of coins, etc., but this is the kind of thing, and that's why I did it. I bought $50 worth in January just for fun because I was like, fuck it, I hear about this one, I might as well. And this is exactly the kind of small thing where I got like, I don't know, 60 something or 6,000 something coins for it. And I'm like, yeah, this way, if they ever become $1, hey man, I made, a quick fortune or a quick, not fortune, but a nice turnaround on my $50 from years ago, right?
I think April has a good point that I don't think easy come, easy go is good investment advice. Like if you ever get a windfall, the great thing to do is plow that thing back into some sort of investment or keep it where it is if you think it's going to keep going. But, just winning something and then blowing it is, a way to stay where you are forever.
I feel bad for the people who, made $25 million in the GameStop thing. Not for the rich people, fuck them. The low-level mooks like me who made $25 million. I didn't make $25 million. I lost $500. But I feel bad for the ones that made a fortune and then held. And now they're down to like, something much more reasonable, but still, life adjusting.
The problem with GameStop is it was based on the actual value of a real thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Dogecoin, fake shit.
Bill Grove's advice is good. Is that the barbell strategy? I think that was from He's the guy who wrote Black Swan.
Oh, Nassim Taleb.
I think that was an Nassim Taleb thing. Anyway, thanks, Phoenix.
No.
Well, it's good to hear your voice.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Oh no! Another
Aw.
picture of us. How dare you?
Sneak attack.
Yep.
Actually, that's the same picture.
Nope.
It's
Well,
a slightly different one.
I haven't. I
Because
haven't.
the look on my face is slightly less goofy.
I haven't been wearing that shirt for at least an hour. When
Oh,
did
wait,
when,
sorry.
That's a
when
good
did you
point.
take this one?
Derp. And I always gotta clean my
I wish I'd
face
been
and
like
lenses.
sitting up straight for that picture, but that's okay.
No legs.
Steven has
Yep.
no legs. Poor Steven.
Little known fact about me.
Nice. There you go.
Oh, we're putting a picture of Charlie up too, so we can see the person been taking the pictures and chiming in now and then.
Thanks.
Did you all see that Reddit thread where it was like somebody took a picture of their 2 wrist tattoos and they're like, "Oh my god, how'd you take that picture?" And then there's a picture of him taking the picture by holding the phone with his like chin and shoulder, and they're like, "Oh, hold on, how'd you take that picture?" And it goes like 4 more levels.
Have you ever seen the I think it was like on Board Panda, I'm sure it's like everywhere, but compilations of really awesome photo shoots and then like the picture of how it was done, where like it'll be this like amazing picture of some, I don't know, cosplayer with like their hair blowing back and like water spraying, and then they take like 10 steps back and there's a picture of like a rig that they have set up where there's a fan and like somebody like frantically sprinkling water on them.
Thank you, Johnny. Links to the thing. Oh, it's I'll
Or
have to
the like
open the
actually in some
original.
very strange contorted position that like looked really great.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
no, this is a different one, but it's a similar sort of thing where they're just taking pictures further out and out.
This is very in line with my sense of humor.
And now I can't find. Oh, there it is.
There's Charlie.
Yay!
It's only fair.
Yeah.
Well, you look great.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Aw,
I keep
thanks.
noticing that your jewelry is really cool.
Oh, thank you. So first, this was a gift, and this is the first piece of jewelry I've bought for myself in like over a decade.
Hell yeah. If other people want to post pictures of themselves and put them in the chat, that would be really cute.
That'd be fun. Let's see each other's smiling, happy faces.
I'd like to have faces to attach to some of these names and avatars that I've been seeing a lot of.
I look less like Thor than I wish I did, but that's okay.
Yawn.
You don't have to
Needs
find
some
clothes. You could just sort of get like a head and shoulders shot.
Where's my?
Or you could just flex and send us a pecs up.
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
We're down with that.
What are you looking for?
I was looking for mine, but I'm lazy and can't find it.
You can't find yourself.
Oh, because I'm probably not.
So
You're not
it's-
online.
It's very
Yeah.
existential.
No. Alexa, stop.
You're not on this podcast, lady.
Alexa, stop. See, this is the sort of thing that if we were recording, we would have put a timestamp and cut it out.
That happens a lot too.
Yeah.
I feel like we get a random Alexa interruption like almost once a podcast.
I thought it was going to start again because we used.
Oh
its
yeah,
name.
just as soon as I said it, I was like, oh no.
Do not
I've
invoke
summoned
the
it.
devil.
No.
Hey, man in white. Thanks for your picture.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sharper looking
No
good,
smile.
but
No
you're not
smiles.
wearing white in the picture, so I can see why you use the avatar.
It's a
He
white
was saying
mask.
something. Wait, he was saying something.
No. You asked for a smile, but this is all I can do.
Okay. Is that you right now?
I think this picture was taken about 2 months ago.
Johnny,
Okay.
Johnny.
you look way different than I was picturing.
I know I've seen pictures of Johnny before somewhere. Oh, yeah, at the Guild of Servants. He was in a video chat once. I was like, that's Johnny. Johnny, I also kind of wanted to apologize to you that one time we were playing Among Us. And I was like, oh my God, you're so annoying. Let us learn how to play. But like, that was kind of mean of me. I'm sorry. I was just trying to learn how to play and have a good time. But like, as soon as you stopped doing your thing, I was like, I now understand exactly why Johnny was doing that, because we are losing horribly without his guidance.
Hey, Waluigi.
I discovered the Among Us Discord
Mhm.
because it's a little more. They launched a new level, so
Oh,
I got me
thank God.
briefly interested in it again.
Johnny says, rest assured, I literally had absolutely no memory of that event. And yeah, I've apologized to my sister for things that we did once when I was like 7. I
I
was
do
like,
that all the time.
yeah, I was racing down the hallway against you and you were going to pass me. So I held out
Hey.
my hand to push
Oh,
you
that's a
back. And
great
she's like, what the
picture,
fuck are you
Phoenix.
talking about, man? I don't remember any of this. So
Oh.
yes, I'm glad to hear that.
I just
Phoenix's
dyed
hair game
Phoenix's
is
hair
always
pink.
crazy on point.
Oh, cool.
We
yeah.
just did
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was going to be fade from red to bubblegum pink, but it turned out just really vibrant pink. It's really
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
Hey, Jan, I like your shirt. I'm not sure if there's more words on there, but I like a shirt that just says life.
Aw, that's
Hello,
the first time I've seen
April.
April.
I feel like I've seen April before, but I don't remember. It might have actually been the last time, like a million years ago, that we did a live episode. I think we tried to have a video.
Did we?
Or okay, maybe it was just the fact that your face used to be here. That's yeah.
That could be it.
Yes, you now exist.
I don't. Yeah, in my head, it's always been the picture, the cartoon picture that someone drew after the whole Minecraft debacle.
Evelyn.
But I know that was fairly recent. I don't know why I can't remember what the picture was before. Yeah, well.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was intentionally.
Evelyn, your
backlit like
halo
that,
is
but
showing in that picture. Did you mean to expose yourself?
It looks pretty cool.
Oh, April
That's really
says,
cool.
yeah, she had a profile picture change on a daily basis for a bit. That's probably why. When they change frequently, I
Koi.
just it
Hey, Koi.
drops out of my head.
God damn! I've been trying
You
to
look
dress sharper.
sharp.
Yeah, I've been trying. One of the things I learned during the Guild of Servants is that fashion is something I should focus on, and is easier than I thought. So I've been trying to dress better. But
You've been looking good.
I appreciate it, but
Yeah.
not that good.
Very few people are as good looking as Koi. That is known. Or at least those of us who have seen pictures of Koi.
Because everybody's crazy about a sharp dressed man.
Yeah. We should get together and have a guild, not a guild, a Discord karaoke night.
That would be so
Ah,
fun.
that'd be
That would be
really
great.
fun.
But we'd have to fly everybody out here, and that would be expensive.
I'm sure there's digital karaoke.
There's digital karaoke.
Digital karaoke is bullshit.
I've never actually done karaoke.
It's like having digital sex. It doesn't count.
I mean,
No
I s-
comment.
I feel like there's a lot more related to digital karaoke that you. I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's a closer to the real experience than digital sex would be, right? You're still singing in front of strangers.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Digital
Yeah,
sex has
maybe a
gotten
little
pretty
bit.
good if you have the like VR hookup thing.
I
Oh.
was thinking
Huh.
of that.
Porn leading the way for technology every day.
I mean,
There
ever
was a
since
David v. David
Life is short, talk
karaoke once,
fast.
April says.
That is a really good show.
Oh,
porn
thank
has been
you,
pushing
Jan.
technology for a long fucking time.
This is true.
Since the days of,
I
gosh,
feel like
even before photography, even printing was used for porn.
A long fucking time indeed.
Fine, I get it.
I feel like those like sex dolls are getting more and more realistic and like is going to lead the way for us having like Gleisner robots.
I have a 75% confidence that the first like truly sentient humanoid robot will be a sex bot.
Probably.
Wow. You think?
I think.
So someone can have a more emotionally fulfilling experience with their sex bot?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like there might be
was a
sentient
character-
there might be sentient there will probably be sentient intelligences outside of sex bots first. But I think the first time someone shoves one into a human looking body
Yeah.
will be for a sex thing.
Yeah.
April, I find your comment interesting. I feel like digital sex gets the most meaningful parts of it across for me. Question mark.
Someone just uploaded
It's
a
a close
picture
up.
of Steven that's
Yay.
been photoshopped with him holding Mjolnir.
Oh, yes! Woo! See, this is the fun part about posting photos.
Yes.
Sorry, you're my-
I did not mean to
you're my
interrupt you,
hero.
Charlie. I
That's
just had
great.
to laugh.
Oh, that's awesome.
Best ever.
We love it.
Thank
Steven,
you.
I think the Chinese are getting ahead of your idea.
Sassy bot, huh?
Oh.
That's amazing.
In China, a sassy bot is stealing millions of men's hearts. It's also recording their most intimate desires and emotions. Dope.
I want to read that article. That sounds super
Is it
interesting.
is it financially
Hey, Velcro.
dominating them as well? Because I highly suspect it will.
There's a kind of
Hello,
Rick and Morty.
Velcro.
There's a Rick and Morty style show called Solar Opposites. That
yeah.
just had its second season come out on Hulu. And I think in the first season they make a digital, like they make a robot wife thing so that they can have a man cave. And part of having a man cave is having a wife that hates you having a man cave. And they realized that was an important part of it, so they made the wife.
Yeah.
And then the one that's voiced by Dan
Harmon?
like really gets off on it, like demeaning him, like putting him down.
Mhm.
And the other one really likes like the safe mommy aspect of it. It's really funny.
Cool.
Man,
Robo Femdom.
I remember that, Johnny. You're the best.
going back to
I wish I was. My only downside is that I was not the least bit articulate during that explanation, and I've thought about that
I think that's
most
still makes it
recently,
good.
like in the last week. I was like, God, I wish I'd done a better job because I remembered the Force theme there.
I sort of think it's much funnier. Like I haven't heard this, but I'm just imagining like
I haven't heard it either. Johnny, if you have it, will you post the link?
Leighton, which one are you?
The Stephen explaining.
Bayes' theorem.
Yes, thank
with
you.
the
I couldn't
Force
read it
theme from Star
with
Wars.
the glare.
Yeah.
You're on the right. Cool.
Ah.
Cool.
For the record, I think I am capable of explaining it more articulately If I
Oh.
Where are you in that photo?
Yeah, Leighton, where are you guys?
It says me on right. Oh, you mean what location?
Yeah, I mean in
It
the
looks
background, there's like
possibly
a
Grand Canyon-y. Is
There's
that
really sweet
in that
mountain.
that
area?
poll
Devil's
says
Peak.
something.
Oh, Devil's Peak.
There we go.
Wait,
Just
I
like
don't know.
zoom in.
There's got to be more than one Devil's Peak in the
There
world.
definitely
Cape
is.
Town, huh?
Okay.
Cool.
Not just my boobies when they're cold.
It's like every culture has their own dark forest or black forest.
Well, good. April said that it's really funny for me totally bungling it, which, yes, as long as it's funny, then that is the most important part. So
cool.
Devil's Peak Lager.
Oh, so it could have been anywhere. The force of.
Thanks.
I may be able to just get it to play in this thing.
It wouldn't pick up on the recorder. Oh, it might pick up on the recorder.
I think I might be able to get it to. Oh no, it won't let me.
Oh,
no,
I'm actually kind of relieved. I don't want to hear my voice.
Tragic. Everyone else can just go separately listen to that link.
Yeah. Oh, it's a cat and a person.
Ah, yeah, we love fuzzy kitties.
Oh my god, what a cute cat!
It's fun seeing the community. This is. Was this your idea, Jace, to get people to start sharing their pictures, or was it
I'll take
Charlie?
credit for it.
I think it was Charlie.
Well, thank you.
Nah,
Yeah,
I'll
this
let Charlie
is
take
fun
credit
seeing
for it.
people.
Someone.
It is really nice. I feel more connected just seeing your faces. It's very helpful.
I don't remember who, but someone said earlier that we should do these sorts of live episodes more than once every 2 years. I don't think it's been 2 years. It's been like a year and a half,
I don't
right?
think that's what they said, but
It's been a long time. We should do more often.
Yeah. I mean, I like them, but I also feel like the
we don't want to like burn out on them either.
right the regular core of the thing is the episodes, and if we just did this all the time, people would get bored real quick.
Just say, Patreon exclusive.
Oh, should we have a
Patreon?
Patreon exclusive live episode every 6 months or something?
I was thinking every 1 or 2, but
That would be way too much for
I
me.
was just amazed that you weren't like thinking, well, first, how can I monetize this?
See, I'm really bad at business stuff. I don't know about brand management. I don't know about monetizing things.
Well, so this is different than usual content. This won't be as much fun to listen to as it was to participate in. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to torture the average listener with this once every 5 episodes or something, right?
Right.
Yeah, this seems like the kind of thing it's really fun to participate in, but like listening to this would be like people just saying random things.
So for the
In response
95%
to
of our
things you can't
listeners that
see.
are listening to this after it's been recorded, you're welcome.
Oh, hopefully.
Hey.
Don't put yourself down.
Man, I was looking at there's a Reddit called
You're just channeling Samwise right now in
Yeah.
that photo.
there's a big
Oh,
Samwise
yeah.
vibe.
Yep.
There's this Reddit that was I think it's called like Everyday Nudes or something like
Now I'm
that.
going to view Samwise in Amazing Man. Sorry, there was a what?
Canon.
Yeah.
There's this Reddit called I think it's Everyday Nudes where people were encouraged to just like post casual pictures of themselves nude to encourage body positivity and show what.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Even hot people don't look good nude if they aren't posing.
Well, that's kind of the idea. That was trying to normalize what like actual human bodies look like.
we have a 10-minute argument
Maybe I
about
should
that,
not
Enosh, on
offend.
the next Worth the Candle episode.
But like,
yeah.
I was looking at this and like, there's so many people were posting pictures and posting them with these like, haha, here's my flabby ass self, or like, sorry to like make you have to look at that. And I was just like, oh, guys,
Yeah.
you're all valid humans.
With those pictures that were posted earlier of the 3 of us, I was like, oh man, I really wish I had some kind of makeup person come through beforehand.
I did like see that picture and go, oh man, I wish I had like sat up straight and
Yeah.
not like grinned like a gremlin. But you know what? That's me.
Oh, that is not how you spell that sort of segue, I think, right?
I don't know how to spell it, but
I thought they intentionally misspelled it for the
Segu.
yeah.
And that makes sense.
But yeah, this and we are going to keep it that way. Stephen, you're not allowed to say that word for the rest of this episode.
Very well.
Okay, we have to have at least.
I did say Segu. Does that count?
No, it does not.
So speaking, Enosh, you mentioned, or someone mentioned when the first picture came out that your hair looked like a Victorian wig that was dyed brown.
Yeah, yeah.
In person, it looks more like Keanu Reeves from like the 90s, like Point Break style.
Cool.
Yeah.
If only the rest of me looked like Keanu Reeves in
You-
Point Break.
Do look like Keanu Reeves. I mean, like I've heard multiple people say that.
That's true.
I mean, like, I guess if you squint and tilt your head or something, but it's not like
My ex couldn't remember your name and used to refer to you as that Keanu Reeves looking motherfucker.
Nice. I always like when a description of me ends with motherfucker.
I always read this in Portuguese. What does that sound like?
Unfortunately, no one in this room Does Portuguese?
Do I
Stephen,
talk about Avengers too much, guys?
No.
you don't
So,
talk about Avengers
My
enough.
my constantly mentioning it is more of like a self-aware meme at this point. Like I deliberately make it part of like my online character.
It's like
Um,
how every single video has to have super easy, barely an inconvenience, or people start posting angry comments.
Right.
It's not the same as Spanish at all.
The way is silent. Is silente?
What are we gonna do like 20 years from now when Marvel stops making movies? I guess that's never gonna happen, is it?
Probably not, but also find the next thing to look at, right? So
That just occurred to me. We'll probably have Marvel movies for the rest of time now.
I mean, if they keep it out at this quality, like the TV shows blew me away. So
Because like they started with superhero comics way back, I guess in the 40s is when they started getting big, and they just haven't stopped since then. And now that has infected movies. Infected's the wrong word because it makes it sound bad, but now that has also blessed the movie.
expanded onto the screen. Yeah.
Johnny mentioned cowboy movies. I think it would be really cool if somebody like managed to reboot cowboy movies.
They did with The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I want more space westerns, actually.
I love space westerns.
Space western.
This is
Oh
the
my
way.
God! Everyone just had a collective sigh in their hearts for Firefly season 2.
Firefly and wow, I can't remember the name of it. The anime Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, but Cowboy Bebop finished their run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Johnny, Mandalorian very much takes place in the Western Hemisphere of space.
Can't argue with that.
Well,
I think we're running out of steam.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up. We're closing in on 3 hours here.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. And now it's like more personal.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks, everybody.
Rather than just saying thanks, everybody, into the void, it's talking to actual people.
Right,
who
so you
now-
can actually say it this time.
Many of whom's faces I know. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
This
Thanks
is
for cultivating this nice garden of rationality.
Aw, thanks, man. And thank you for
Yay.
helping be in it and turn the soil, or whatever the correct metaphor is.
We literally could not have done this without y'all.
Always a pleasure.
Or we could have, but it would have been much sadder.
Johnny says this is apparently my ideal comedic format: typing while people are podcasting. He can do like the Mystery Science Theater 3000 of podcasts.
Hey.
That's a great picture, Gad.
That is wonderful hair as well.
You look very shocked or something.
That is anime hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, it was nice to meet you all.
Yeah, everybody's saying thank you and bye, and thank you and bye to everybody. And I guess that's it.
Yeah, this is great.
Cool. We'll be back to our we'll be back to our regularly scheduled content in 2 weeks.
All right.
Well, 2 weeks and 3 days, I guess, since we normally release on Wednesdays.
Oh, yeah.
But for the people who are not listening to this live, in 2 weeks.
If they made it to the end of the episode.
That's true.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my God.
Thanks again, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Aloha, a hui ho kako.